All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here this evening. We'll go ahead and get started. Just a quick housekeeping, make sure schools that you all stay together through the recognitions, because then Callie would like to do your photos out in the lobby area. So please don't leave, because we want to make sure we get a picture of the respective schools together. So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we have a moment of silence. So call the meeting to order here at 5:06. And Director Jones, you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance? So please stand with us, and we'll do the pledge. All right, thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for this evening?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Chavez. Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from November 19th, 2024 Board Business Meeting and November 22nd, 2024 Board Special Meeting?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second?
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, so we will jump into our recognitions this evening. So various board members will be helping with the recognitions. So first up, we have our Southwest League Volleyball Awards. Yep.
Will Addie Ritterbush and Coach Wendy McCaskill please join us at the front of the room? Addie, a senior at Palisade High School, and PHS volleyball coach Wendy McCaskill have been named the Southwest League 2024 Player of the Year and Coach of the Year for the second consecutive year, an incredible achievement. Addie, the Bulldogs team captain and senior at Palisade High School, has an outstanding high school volleyball career. Over her tenure as a PHS Bulldog, she has recorded 1,005 kills, 864 digs, 219 total blocks, 170 assists, and 96 service aces. Wow, that's impressive. In the 2024 season alone, Addie maintained a .371 hitting percentage, ranked her 16th in Colorado and 4th in Division 4A. Her exceptional performance has been crucial in leading the Bulldogs to multiple state tournament appearances. Beyond her impressive statistics, Addie has been an outstanding leader on the team, known for her dedication and excellence both on and off the court. She recently committed to continuing her volleyball career at Colorado Mesa University, but leaves behind a lasting legacy that will be deeply missed by her PHS Bulldog family. Coach McCaskill, Palisade Volleyball's head coach since 2007, led the Bulldogs in a 22-5 record this year, including an undefeated season in the Southwest League, a regional championship, and their fifth straight state tournament appearance. With her unwavering leadership and focus on resilience, flexibility, and teamwork, the PHS girls volleyball team continues to overcome challenges, grow together, and achieve incredible success. In addition to on-court achievements, Coach McCaskill's program raised nearly $9,000 this October for breast cancer awareness, bringing her total throughout her lifetime on the program to over $48,000. Every dollar stays local and supports women in the Grand Valley through all stages of their breast cancer journey. The Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Hill are proud to honor Addie and Coach McCaskill for these accomplishments and thank them for all they have done for our D51 athletic community. Congratulations to you both on your well-deserved recognition, and Addie, good luck to your next endeavor. Well done.
Next up, we have the Southwest League Boys Soccer Player and Coach of the Year.
Hello, with Luis Mendez Castillo and Jonathan Pandon. Please come up. Is your coach here? Luis Mendez, a junior at Grand Junction High School, played as a forward for the Tigers varsity soccer team. Luis has been a standout player, undoubtedly contributing to the team's success during the 2024 season. Luis showcased exceptional goal-scoring abilities. Through the first 11 games, he netted 28 of the team's 37 goals, averaging over 2.5 goals per game. His performance was instrumental in leading the Tigers to a 12-3-1 overall record and securing the Southwest League title. Combined agility and skills to excel as a forward, Luis' outstanding play not only earned him the Southwest League Player of the Year, but also honorable mention in the Class 5 All-State boys soccer teams for the 2024 season. Congratulations. Since 2016, Coach Jonathan Pendo has led the Grand Junction High School boys soccer to remarkable achievements, including a state quarterfinal run in 2017. In 2024, he guided the Tigers to a stellar 12-3-1 record as a Southwest League title during their debut season at the 5A level. The coach emphasized team chemistry and collective goals, crediting the players' strong connection and unified teamwork as a foundation of their success. His coaching style fostered a cohesive, motivated team environment, helping the Tigers excel at the highest level of competition. The Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Hill would like to congratulate both Luis Mendez and the coach as being named Southwest League Player and Coach of the Year, respectfully. You both have left indelible marks on the Grand Junction soccer team, and we eagerly anticipate watching your continued success during next year's season.
All right, next up, we have the the Dinosaur Ridge Science Quiz Bowl winners.
Will the following, good luck. I'm messing it up already, guys. Will the following people please join me at the front of the room? Coach Cody Shawcroft and the Grand Junction High School Academic A team led by Eric Turlow, along with Carter Reynolds, Neil Scott, Sean Prestagen, like it, and Brendan Schwartz. The Grand Junction High School academic team has a distinguished history of success in state competitions. As of this year, they secured their 26th state championship title, marking their second consecutive win. 24 teams from across Colorado high schools competed in the Dinosaur Ridge State Science Quiz Bowl competition, answering multiple rounds of quiz questions regarding geology, paleontology, anatomy, and general science. The top 3 teams advanced to the final round, and in the finals, Grand Junction High School pulled off the win in a thrilling fashion after 2 rounds decided by, this sounds legit, sudden death tiebreakers. This achievement highlights the students' talent, determination, and dedication, made possible through countless hours of practice and preparation led by Coach Shawcroft. The team also credits the supportive staff and teachers at Grand Junction High School for helping to lay the foundation for their success. It's a true reflection of hard work, teamwork, and the strength of Grand Junction High School community. The Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Hill want to recognize these students and Coach Shawcroft for this accomplishment. We see the hard work you pour into your academics and your extracurricular activities, and this is very well deserved. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing your success next year.
All right, next up, we have the I-25 League Football Awards. And then after that, Western Slope League Football Awards that Director Jones will present.
The Board of Education would like to invite Grand Junction High School football coach Landon McKee and football players Will Applegate, Xavier Chavez, and Jaden Owens to the front of the room. The Grand Junction High football team had an outstanding season, finishing with a 9-1 regular season record, securing their first playoff win since 2013, and demonstrating remarkable growth and determination under Coach Landon McKee's leadership. Since taking over in 2016, Coach McKee has transformed the Tigers football program. Under his leadership, they have achieved a remarkable 9-1 regular season record in 2024, their best in 14 years, and secured their first playoff victory since 2013. His dedication and effective coaching strategies have earned him a well-deserved title of Coach of the Year. A pivotal force on both offense and defense, senior quarterback and linebacker Will Applegate led the Tigers with 17 total touchdowns to a 9-1 regular season record and their first playoff appearance in 5 years. His exceptional performance throughout the season earned him League's Most Valuable Player, MVP. Jaden Owens, the Tigers' senior offensive guard, has been the cornerstone of the offensive line, providing crucial protection and support for the team's offensive plays. Owens anchored the offensive line continuously, contributing to the team's rushing that led to multiple victories. His outstanding performance has earned him the title of Lineman of the Year. And Xavier Chavez, a senior cornerback, was instrumental in Tigers' defensive success, contributing significantly to the team's strong defensive record. A key component of the defense that allowed only 14.2 points per game during the season, his exceptional play has earned him the title of Defensive Co-MVP. These individuals embody the excellence and dedication of GJHS athletic program. The Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Hill are proud to celebrate the accomplishments and are proud of these positive impacts they have continue to make. Congratulations to Coach McKee, Will Applegate, Jaden Owens, and Xavier Chavez. To our graduating Tigers, best wishes on your next chapter. For those returning next year, we can't wait to see your future achievements. Yes, sir. The Board of Education would like to invite Palisade High School football coach Joe Romano and Palisade football players Easton Embry and Vincent Johnston to the front of the room. Greg, do you want to come up and accept for Joe? Palisade High School Bulldogs finished the 2024 football season with an 8-3 record, going undefeated in league play to win the 3A Western Slope Championship, with standout performances from players like Easton Embry and Vinnie Johnston. The team showed grit, determination throughout the season, including a 6-game winning streak. Their defensive efforts, allowing just 12.7 points per game, helped them reach the playoffs, where they narrowly fell to Severance High School in a hard-fought game. Senior wide receiver and defensive back Easton Embry was named the 2024 Offensive Player of the Year, delivering outstanding performances throughout the season. Easton rushed for a career-high 196 yards and 2 touchdowns on the 7 carries in a 43-0 victory over Eagle Valley. His versatility and athleticism were pivotal to the Bulldogs' offensive success. Senior offensive lineman and defensive tackle Vinnie Johnston anchored both offensive and defensive lines. His leadership and experience played a key role in the team's success, strengthening the Bulldogs line and helping them have a great season, which earned him Lineman of the Year. Coach Romano, well-earned and well-deserved title Western Slope League Coach of the Year, helped guide the Bulldogs in tackling a tough schedule this season. Building the team with both resilience and competitiveness, his focus on teamwork and experience showed that the players worked hard and stayed determined through every challenge. The Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Hill would like to congratulate Easton Embry, Vinnie Johnston, and Coach Romano on their outstanding achievements. These three exemplify the dedication and passion that define Palisade High School athletic program, inspiring their teammates and community through their leadership and hard work. Well done.
All right. Could we have Curtis Engelhart and Karen Troster join me at the front? All right, so Curtis and Karen were our co-chairs for the bond and mill that we just passed, and we want to thank our community so very much for that. So the Board of Education is proud to recognize the exceptional leadership of our 2024 bond and mill levy override campaign co-chairs, Karen Troster and Curtis Engelhart. Serving as campaign co-chairs, these engaged and supportive community partners were instrumental in guiding this campaign to success. From engaging the community and advocating for our schools to calling donors and rallying support, their tireless efforts and strong leadership was pivotal in securing these resources for our students, staff, and schools. Their ability to connect with stakeholders, build trust, and overcome challenges made them the perfect choice to lead this effort. And we are deeply grateful for their dedication to K-12 public education. We also want to thank the entire campaign committee for their hard work and dedication. Their teamwork has helped create lasting opportunities for D51 students, schools, and families, and we appreciate everything that everyone has done on the campaign to make it a success. The accomplishment of passing the 2024 bond and mill levy override initiatives reflect the power of teamwork and a shared vision for better opportunities for every student in D51. On behalf of the Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Hill, the entire D51 community, we extend our deepest gratitude and congratulations to the campaign committee and especially to our co-chairs for their steadfast efforts in leading us to success. Thank you for everything that you've done.
All right, this is a long list. I'm going to put glasses on for this one. Okay, with the administration from the following schools, please stand and stay standing when your school is called. Appleton Elementary, Corey Hafey. Broadway Elementary, Brittany Westbrook. Go ahead. Chatfield Elementary, Dave McCall. Chipeta Elementary, Jamie Chiro. Dual Immersion Academy, Tyler McLaughlin. Fruita Monument High School, Newt Klusmeyer. Independence Academy, Lisa Gonzalez. Juniper Ridge Community School, Marie Karras. Loma Elementary, Nicole Wimsat. Mesa Valley Community School, Laura Jean Downs. Mesa View Elementary, Stacy Cohen. Monument Ridge Elementary, Emily Larson. Mount Garfield Middle School, Danielle Bagwell. New Emerson, Aubrey Hoffman. Orchard Avenue Elementary, Teal Maxwell, Richards. Orchard Mesa Middle School, Danny Medved. Palisade High School, Dan Bollinger. Pear Park Elementary, Zachary Moore. Pomona Elementary, Bill Pfaffsendorf. R5 High School, Nick Steinmetz. Redlands Middle School, Scott Davis. Rimrock Elementary, Patrice Clark, representing Sally Huddle. Scenic Elementary, Chris Scott. Shelledy Elementary, Cami Kidd. Taylor Elementary, Sean Wilson. Tope Elementary, Summer Kennedy and her predecessor, Carrie Bollinger. And Wingate Elementary, Amy Schrader. Every school in D51 works tirelessly to provide students with the tools and opportunities they need to succeed. Each year, the Colorado Department of Education evaluates schools across the state, and through school performance framework, this evaluation, like a report card for a school, measures academic achievement, growth, and post-secondary workforce readiness for high schools. Schools then use these results to build plans that either sustain their success or address areas for improvement. For the 2023-24 school year, District 51 had 2/3 of our schools earn the top rating of Performance School, a testament to the hard work and dedication of our students, staff, and families. We'd like to take a moment to recognize the staff members from these schools. If you are here, please stand. You are standing to be acknowledged alongside your school administrators. Anybody else here with their administrators? Thank you for all that you do to help our students thrive. The Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Hill proudly recognize these schools and their incredible staff and administration for their dedication to academic excellence and their commitment to our vision to engage, equip, and empower each and every student each and every day. Your impact goes far beyond the walls of your school buildings, shaping well-rounded students who will become valuable contributors to our communities in the future. Congratulations on this well-earned recognition, and thank you for all that you do to support and uplift our D51 community.
And real quick, because I like stats. So we had 27 performance schools this year, which is awesome. And that is 2/3 of our schools, as Secretary Lima said. 90% of our schools at the top 2 levels in the state, which was our strategic plan year 2 goal, which is awesome as well. I did want to highlight a couple things. So we had performance schools that earned double-digit gains on their SPF, which is remarkable. So we had 2 schools that grew by 13 points, Rimrock Elementary and Tope Elementary, if we can give them a round of applause. 2 schools that grew by 14 percentage points, that's Orchard Avenue Elementary and Pear Park Elementary. Give them a round of applause. And then 1 school that grew 19 points was New Emerson. We give them a round of applause. And did I mention Taylor? Oh, I skipped them. Sorry, 15 points was Taylor Elementary. Let's give them a round of applause. And then 2 of our performance schools that grew the most this past year were by 22 points was Orchard Mesa Middle School and Loma Elementary. If we can give them a round of applause. And then we had some schools that jumped levels because there are 4 levels that a school can earn. And so one of our schools went from improvement to performance, and that was Pear Park Elementary. We give them a round of applause. And then one of our schools that jumped 2 levels from priority improvement all the way to performance was Orchard Mesa Middle School. If we can give them a round of applause. And then 2 other things I'll mention. One, D51 we jumped a level as well as a district to the accredited level, and that's the first time we've been at that level in the last 8 years, which is great for our school district. And then I really just want to shout out R5 High School, our alternative high school. They earned the highest rating in the state as a performance school, and that's the first time that's happened in 7 years. And so if we can give R5 a huge round of applause as well. And so I just, we obviously, our goal is to get to 100%, but we need to celebrate our schools and the work that they've done. And so thank you all for your leadership. I know your staff that are here as well or watching online. Thank you to everybody who supports our students. And this is a great celebration for our school district. So if we can give them one more big round of applause tonight.
Okay, so I know you're all chomping at the bit to just stay for the rest of the meeting, but we'll give you several minutes to go ahead and make your way out. So Callie, you'll be out in the lobby, right? So make sure you get with her so she can get some. So thank you all and drive home safely. That's staying, please go ahead and you're welcome to have a seat. You can even move to the front if you want. So, also, if you're new to our board meetings, we do have the public comment sheet over here to my left, your right, under the television there for you to sign up for 3-minute comments. So please be sure to sign up for that prior to our public comment time. We'll just give everybody a few more minutes to file out here.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, no problem. Sorry.
There. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. So there are plenty of seats now available. All right, we will now move on with our meeting. So now we have board reports. So board, any good things that you want to share from this last week or two? I'll just share that I'm thankful for the Bond and Mill campaign that our community voted on and that we just recognized the co-chairs for, and several people in this room I know worked really hard on that. So we're very thankful for that. Those dollars are going to be well spent in our buildings and for our students. So
I have something.
go ahead, Jose Luis.
Sunday, I was able to participate at Junction High School with Miss Adams and Miss Reyes, the CLD teachers at Grand Junction High School. They had a wonderful winter wonder night for all of their students. There was approximately about 150 families that were there, 150 individuals, and 12 different people from different countries that were also there. The food was really amazing, especially the desserts. I got to give that up. It was really good. But you could see the interactions of when they had to not only, when they were providing the food, but they were also had to build gingerbread houses. And there was generationals, there was the grandparents, the parents, and their children there. And they're all building, and they're amazing how well that they built the houses. And some of them built one age group built one, of the family, and the other one built the other one, and then they put them together, so there was a really huge house that they put together. Totally amazing. Just Miss Adams is just, and Miss Reyes are just wonderful people to put that on. I think this was their first year that they ever did it. They were fearful about that, but like most things when you're new, you don't know if it's going to come through or not, but it came through, and everybody seemed to be having a really wonderful time. There was gifts, and those books that were given away, they were all taken, so it was wonderful.
I have a public service announcement. Some of the kids that I used to work with at Orchard Mesa Middle School have notified me that they have obtained their driver's permits and their license. So look out there on the road. Wear your seatbelts.
I'd like to just mention that we all five of us, plus Dr. Hill, were able to attend the CASB convention this last weekend in Colorado Springs. It was some great presentations and some wonderful networking with other school board directors, superintendents from across the state. So it was very valuable and well-spent time to do that.
Well, and was able to, President Heights presented on a session, and then I was able to present on our AI pilot that we're a part of with the rest of the state, and then also attend a session on the smartphone policy. And if you haven't seen yet, CEI put out a case study on the work that we've done in the district, and so they were able to launch that at CASB as well, which is great because other school districts that are looking to move in that direction. Now they have sort of a roadmap. So yeah, it was good to be able to present and share some of the things that are happening in the district, and also to have President Heights presenting as well and representing the district, and then also our award winner being recognized as well for the McGuffey Award. So it was good.
It was good. The cell phone policy room was actually completely packed with people wanting information about that. So I stood outside the room and spoke with quite a few different board members and a couple of superintendents just about the success that we've had with our policy, and shared some information so that they can hopefully have a success with that as well.
All right, thank you, everybody. Do we have any committee updates? Nothing real pressing? Okay, I know. Well, you'll see the policy committee, along with our legal counsel, has been very busy, so. All right, we are ready for D51 happenings and celebrations.
Hello, Board. I'm Sierra Colson, Marketing and Communications Specialist for D51 Schools, here to share with you the District 51 happenings and celebrations. Starting with our Golden Apple, Damon Gilmore, aka Coach D, was nominated for his unwavering dedication to coaching football and his genuine care for his students at Palisade High School. His commitment extends beyond the field, as he consistently goes the extra mile to support students' well-being and success. Coaching is not just a job for Coach D, it's his purpose. He strives to be a role model and guide for his players, inspiring them to excel both on and off the field. The assembly at PHS, where this award was presented, highlights the incredible impact Coach D has as a coach and leader. Thank you, Coach D, for being one of a kind. D51 LEGO League teams made their way to Denver to compete in the first LEGO League Challenge State Tournament. Congratulations to Mesa View, Dual Immersion Academy, Fruita Middle, and Broadway Elementary for your hard work and for representing D51. A special shout out to the Chicken Hawks from Mesa View Elementary for earning second place in core values, and Dual Immersion Academy for receiving the Judges Award for Inclusivity. Grandparents' Day is traditionally celebrated in September, but here at D51, we give our grandparents an extra day of recognition. We celebrate this special occasion the Thursday before Thanksgiving break, creating a heartfelt tradition. While many D51 schools observe this tradition, Pomona has proudly been carrying it on for over 50 years. Grandparents are invited to enjoy a festive turkey and gravy lunch, lovingly prepared by our dedicated nutrition services team. Even D51 school board members join in to serve delicious pumpkin pie. A huge thank you to Pomona and all D51 schools for nurturing and preserving this meaningful tradition, one that has been and will continue to be treasured for years to come. On National Special Education Day, School District 51 honored the individuals who have made a lasting impact on the lives of students with disabilities. This day commemorated the signing of the Education for All Handicapped Children Act in 1975 which paved the way for inclusive education and equal opportunities for students with disabilities. On this day, we celebrate our incredible students, dedicated educators, and supportive families who make a difference every day. Together, we build an inclusive environment where every student can reach their fullest potential. Many of our D51 schools are kicking off the holiday season with the Toys for Tots Hog Run. Pear Park Elementary, Rimrock Elementary, and Thunder Mountain Elementary all collected toys for families in need. Hog motorcycle riders arrived at each school dressed in festive attire. Santa and the Grinch even made an appearance, singing carols and spreading the spirit of giving. The riders then loaded their trailers and sorted the toys for distribution to children across the Grand Valley. A heartfelt thank you to our community, our schools, and the Western Slope Chapter Grand Junction Hogs for continuing to host this wonderful and meaningful event. We've all had our fair share of bad hair days, but none quite like this, with a great cause behind it. Fruita Monument High School principal Nuke Klusmeyer shaved his head after students reached their goal of donating over 5,000 cans to the Food Bank of the Rockies, helping provide more than 1,000 meals for families in need this holiday season. A huge shout out to FMHS for demonstrating the true power of teamwork and generosity. Thank you to everyone who contributed to this amazing effort. This week marks Computer Science Education Week, an annual event in early December dedicated to raising awareness about the importance of computer science and inspiring students to explore this exciting field. The event highlights the importance of computer science in shaping the future and encourages students to engage in computer science-related learning opportunities. To celebrate, D51 schools are joining the Global Hour of Code initiative. Throughout the week, students in special classes will spend an hour engaging in coding activities, tutorials, and games designed to introduce them to basic coding concepts, sparking creativity and inspiring the next generation of STEM and STEAM learners. And finally, Grand Junction High School recently hosted a vibrant celebration banquet for our culturally and linguistically diverse students and their families. A heartfelt thank you to Mrs. Adams, Mrs. Reyes, and retired elementary CLD teacher Susan Kemble for their hard work in organizing this memorable event. Over 150 people representing a variety of ethnic groups gathered to share delicious homemade dishes from their unique cultures, celebrating the rich diversity within the Grand Junction High School community. It was a beautiful reminder of the strength and unity found in our shared experiences and diverse backgrounds. That's all we have for December happenings and celebrations. Be sure to keep up with all the latest D51 happenings by following us on social media at D51 Schools, and wishing you all happy holidays. See you next year.
Those are the pictures that Jose was talking about. You're in there, so that looks great. All right, next up, we have our superintendent's report. So, Dr. Bill, if you want to.
So I'll go ahead and have Mel come up. So we'll start with our audit report.
Mel and friends, okay.
Somebody just sit in front of the computer, because I'm not gonna run it. We need numbers.
Right. We have to make sure the microphones are on, so anybody online can hear. Perfect. Right, thank you.
So, good evening. So here together we present a new comprehensive financial report, or ACFR, and audit for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. So just give everybody a little bit background about what is ACFR. So ACFR stands for Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. ACFR is a set of a financial statement. It must be audited by an independent external auditor. The foremost purpose of the ACFR is to provide financial transparency and accountability. So who are the user of the report? So that including pretty much everybody, internal users, external users, including the other governmental agencies, financial institutions, grantors, reading agencies, and communities. Perfect example is when we issue debt or we try to get a grant, and that's the one major documentation they require. So not every single aquifer created equally. So the district tried to deliver the best quality information to the public. District always participate, it's called the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. So recently, you probably remember that we just received the 30th consecutive award. That is a huge achievement, and I can tell it was only probably 16 school districts ever received that long award, yeah, consecutively, yeah. I didn't do all this 30 years, by the way.
Started when you were 5, right? Yeah.
Right. So this year, we are still wrapping up the ACFR. So Finance Department will submit 2024 ACFR in December, probably within the next couple weeks. So now I'm going to touch on the timeline, why it takes so long, because we're still talking about the 2024 fiscal year. It literally took almost 7 months. So it starts from preliminary planning phase, is normally start in May or June, that by touching base with our external auditors and talk about what's the field work, which means auditor come to the school district, go over all the documentation, required documentation. So that's the two phases, in interim audit field work and the final audit field work. So interim would normally happen in June, July. Final one normally happen in September, and from after September, we move forward to prepare the financial statement. But still, the communications never stop. We continue to talk to each other. Make sure every number in the report, which is 162 pages this year, that have a solid backup. Every single number have a backup. And then when we move to December, which is now, we start wrap up and do the presentation to the board and file with all the agency required, CDEs, MSRB, all those agencies, that's required. And then post-audit phase will be sometime in January. We touch base and see how can we make the whole process more smooth next year and what improvement we can make as a management. So Mel already introduced Jim, which is our external auditor, and this is his second year, so I will hand over to him.
Yes, my name is Jim Hinkle with Hinkle & Company CPAs, and we are the external auditors, and we audited the annual financial statements of June 30, 2024. We start our audit by updating our understanding of the district's internal accounting controls, policies and procedures around cash receipts, cash disbursements, treasury management, and payroll. What we're looking for primarily is a segregation of duties, that a transaction that typically takes 3 steps: the initiation, the approval, and the recording of that transactions in the books and records, and we do not want one person handling all 3 of those steps. We look for those internal controls to determine whether there are any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the internal control structure. Those are terms of art for us. A significant deficiency is defined as a design flaw in the system of internal accounting controls that would allow an error to go undetected in the ordinary course of business. And a material weakness would be a significant deficiency that could result in a material misstatement to the financial statements. And based upon our analysis and our review of the internal control structure, as well as all of our testing throughout the audit process, we did not find any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the internal control structure. That's the answer that you want to hear. We also use all that work for us to assess the audit risks and in our design of audit procedures, and then we move into the actual audit of the financial statement that occurs during the final field work that Ashley described. We use primarily test of details, which is pretty much what it sounds like. We drill down into account balances and we look at the underlying transactions, and then we compare those back to source documents like invoices, cash receipts, contracts, agreements, etc., to determine whether or not those transactions are accounted for correctly. We also use a lot of analytic review where we compare this year to last year, this year to budget, and we're looking for relationships that we either didn't expect or can't explain. And if we have any of those, we do more test of details with the accounts that are addressing those analytic reviews. The end result of all of that is our audit opinion on the financial statements. Your opinion is what's referred to as an unmodified opinion. In layman's term, that is a clean opinion. Basically states that the financial statements are prepared in accordance with general accepted accounting principles. That's the answer that you want to hear as well. You all receive federal funds, so we are required to do what's referred to as a single audit. In other words, you're going to have one audit over the financial statements as well as compliance with federal award agreements and requirements. We issue 2 opinions with respect to the federal programs. The first is referred to as in compliance with government auditing standards, and it primarily focuses on looking at the district as a whole and asks the question, does the district have the internal controls in place to identify what federal programs it participates in and what the compliance requirements are for all of those federal grant programs? Well, that sounds kind of easy in some respects. A lot of federal dollars are passed through the state and other organizations, and it's hard to follow necessarily what the character is. And based upon our analysis of the internal control structure, we believe that the district does have the internal controls in place, and our opinion on that is also an unmodified or clean opinion. Finally, the third audit report that we issue is under uniform guidance, where under federal regulations, we're required to test specific programs. And we drill down into those programs and we look at those programs and the compliance with federal standards for disbursements, for eligibility, for reporting, and all of the 12 compliance standards that are required by most federal programs. And then we do detailed testing on those. This year we tested the ESSER 1 program, the special ed program, the child nutrition program, and the Title I program. And our audit report with respect to that testing is also a clean opinion that there was internal control procedures allowed on all 4 of those programs, and throughout our detailed testing, we did not find any findings or question costs or compliance errors. So all in all 3 audit reports are clean opinions, and all 3 are exactly what you would expect. We also issue a required communication letter at the end of the audit, and that is where we are required to communicate in writing if certain events occur during the course of an audit. And we have nothing negative to report in that letter. We did not have any disagreements with management. We did not have any difficulties in the course of the audit. We did not have any audit or errors where we found the books and records were in error and needed adjustments. Those are called audit adjustments. Nor did we have any uncorrected errors where we found small errors in the books and records that the adjustments would be immaterial to the financial statements in a whole. So we did not have any of those either. All in all, that report is a clean letter as well. Finally, and I think this is probably the most important comment that I can make tonight, is we as the external auditors felt as though we had open transparency. Everything that we asked for, we received in a timely fashion, and we were never denied access or other information when we requested it. So we as the external auditors felt like we could ask for and receive whatever information we felt necessary to complete an external audit in compliance with our professional standards. So that transparency is very important, and I think you all need to know that that transparency was there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Did you guys have any questions for Jim while he's here? He was kind enough to drive here to give this presentation in person, so we appreciate that.
It's fun to give a presentation when everything was perfect.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
We like boring audit presentations.
Doesn't
where everything's
always
just
happen.
good. Like you don't want it to be too eventful, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you all. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Yes.
Thank you.
Safe travels. Oh, you had one more slide. I'm sorry, Janelle. Oh, no, that's okay.
Go for it.
We had one more slide.
You're good. Go for it.
I
Yeah.
almost got out of here.
Sorry, as long as you guys clap for me at the end too. No, so our ACFR is currently in draft form, and we will send a final version to the board by the 29th of December. And then we also have a number of required filings that we will be submitting on time with no extensions, and these include our yearly filings with CDE, the state auditor, the Municipal Securities Rulemaking Board, and the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. And then once the report is finalized, it will be available to the public through our financial transparency page on the district's website.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for your time this evening.
All right, now it's just Mel with no friends. So the next item in your packets is the mill levy certification. Bring it up here. All right, so the mill levy certification is an annual process. Every year we come to the board about this time of year in order to certify the amounts for property taxes to be levied and collected in the next tax year. This is based on assessed valuations that the Mesa County Assessor's Office provides us for the 2024 tax year. And there's usually a really tight turnaround on that, but just shout out to the Assessor's Office that they actually had until today to get us those values, but they provided us to them I think even before Thanksgiving. And so that's why we didn't need to have a special meeting or anything tonight, and we were able to pull everything together. Then we take those certified levies. They need to be certified in a normal year by December 15th. This year that is on a Sunday, I believe, so our deadline is actually the next day. But then we submit that back to them in order for collection and also to the state. So there are some terminologies, because we only do this once a year, that are unique to this process, and so I just want to go into those. Mills, assessed values, and assessment rates are all used in order to calculate the property taxes due. And so 1 mill is equal to 1/10 of a penny, or 1/1000th of a dollar. And some of our calculations are for a set revenue amount, and some are for a set number of mills, and so there are formulas in order to calculate from each of those. And then AV, or assessed valuation, is the taxable portion of a property value based on the current assessment rate. And so for residential and non-residential, there are different rates. Currently, the residential assessment rate is 6.7% for most properties. That means that for every $100,000 of market value, $6,700 of that value is taxed. There is still an exemption that's in place this year where we actually subtract off $55,000 in value and then apply that rate to it. And then similarly for non-residential, it is a higher rate, but that's currently at 27.9%, or $27,900 is taxable per 100,000 after a $30,000 actual value subtraction. And I'll go through some examples on that, but just high level how those are calculated. And it's important to note that legislation sets these rates, and so they do change from year to year. As we know, they had a special session that's going to change some of these terms for next year. But really, that's just something we watch for every year. In general, when assessed values increase, fewer mills are required to generate the same level of revenue. And when assessed values decrease, it takes more mills then to generate that revenue. So there are 3 primary categories for school districts for property taxes that are collected. The first and largest is our local share of school finance total program funding, or PPR. That provides our general fund regular program and abatement, and that is set by CDE. That's currently at 27 mills. The second category are our voter-approved mill levy overrides, and those are for operational expenses above and beyond PPR. And then the third category are voter-approved bond redemption, and that's also passed by voters to repay debt on capital improvements. So just breaking that down into a pie chart of the resolution that's before you tonight, you can see that by far the largest section, nearly 60% of our property taxes that the district levies are for our PPR total program, and again, that's set by CDE. The remaining 40% are ones that our voters have approved either through mill levy overrides or through bonds. So if we're looking first at the total program property tax collections, that's the amount that a district receives per student, and it's set by the School Finance Act formula. Each district is unique in the amount that they get per student, and there's variation in the number of mills that we levy. For us, it's set at 27 mills. That's our full amount that we need to levy each year, and that provides roughly 60% of our total PPR funding, with the remaining 40% being made up of local property taxes and specific ownership tax dollars. So that 60%, if we didn't have state funding, rather than levying 27 mills, we would need to levy our community for 80 mills, and so that just demonstrates that 60% that's provided by the state. The second category are those mill levy overrides. I know with the election, we've talked about this probably more than we normally do, and so this might be a little redundant, but we do have 3 currently. One is 1996, that's a permanent flat amount, but this one is unique in that it adjusts for inflation, and last year that dollar amount for inflation was 5.2%, so that's the increase from last year to this year, and that's for operating expenses of schools. 2004 is also permanent, but it's for a flat dollar amount of $4 million, and so that one is unchanged in dollar amount, and that's also approved for the operating expenses of schools back in 2004. Our new one just extends the 2017 MLO, but we are now labeling it as the 2024 mill. It is now permanent, and it is for a flat $6.5 million. So that allows us to continue the student contact days, curriculum and related training, school tech positions, and building maintenance. The total of those MLOs is $16.8 million for next year. As a district, we're capped at 31% of our total program could be approved in mill levy overrides. We're at about 8%, so we're using about a quarter of our capacity right now in those mill levies. The last category is to repay capital debt. Those are for our bond redemption, property tax collections. These funds are unique in that they're actually held by the Mesa County Treasurer's Office rather than held in our books. And they make the payments based on those levies. And it's for principal and interest payments and can be only used for that purpose. Support for capital construction is capped at 20% of the net assessed valuation, as well as the annual limitations and the ballot questions. And again, we're well under those caps. This year was not a reassessment year. That means that there was very little change to AV through growth, a 1.3% change from last year to this year. Our mill levy comparison from last year to this year is that there is no change. The total mill levy rate will remain at 45.077. Based on all of those assessments rates that I shared, roughly $300 per 100,000 residential, and non-residential is $1,250 per 100,000 in market value after those exemptions. And so just to walk through a couple taxpayer examples. So on the left-hand side, if there is a home with a market value of $400,000, the $55,000 exemption is applied, netting to $345,000. To that, you apply the 6.7% residential assessment rate, multiplied by the 45.077 mills, divided by 1,000, where it's 1/1000th of a dollar, to be the annual property tax of $1,041, or roughly $87 per month, and that covers all 3 categories, the PPR, the MLOs, and the bond. And then non-residential, that rate is higher, and so you're taking the same market value, but there's a $30,000 exemption, and so that's a net value of $370,000 that then the 27.9 is applied to, the 45.077 mills, and that annual tax bill is around $4,650 or monthly about $387 on a market value non-residential property of $400,000. So again, I know our mill and bond passed as a no tax rate increase, So we're remaining at 45.077. The total number of mills levied remain the same. And from last year to this year, those assessment rates and exemptions are also the same. So unless there was just a change in somebody's property value, the tax bill should be the same for the District 51 portion. So next steps, tonight you have a resolution that walks through each of those calculations and then the comparison table, again, just showing that there are fluctuations in between individual categories, but the overall amount remains the same. And then after which we can provide that certification to the county and CDE in order to comply with their deadlines. Lastly, I just wanted to provide a update on the bond. So we are in the process. Part of the ACFR is an important piece of getting ready to take our bonds out to market. And so that's the piece that we're wrapping up now. We're also working on our preliminary official statement, or POS. And so that's another piece of it. Some of these other deadlines are around a ratings call. And so that's with our rating agencies. And then once all of those documents are completed, then we can take our bonds out to market. And so right now, our tentative timeline shows us taking those bonds the second week of February. There is one more resolution that the board will need to approve at the business meeting in January, and that's just setting the parameters based on the ballot language for the sale of those bonds. And so Dan O'Connell and Kim Crawford will be available online for that meeting in order to go over with that. But that would be our last piece in wrapping everything up and getting them ready to get those proceeds. Are there any questions?
Can I just clarify something? So will you go back to, it's slide 7 on here, mill levy override property tax collection? It shows that one. So if I'm doing my math correctly, which is scary to do that out loud, I think, so you're saying we only borrow, we're only borrowing up to 8%. We can borrow up to 31%, but we're only borrowing 8%. So if we actually were able to, or levy through mill levy overrides with our community, that number would essentially be almost 4 times as much. So the 16.7 million, which is great, and the reason why that's not going up necessarily is because we didn't actually, because the mill levy override we just passed didn't actually add any funding to our district, it just secure what we already had. But we technically have the opportunity to ask for even more, but we haven't. And so my assumption is that other communities that have been outpacing us with mill levy overrides are levying a much higher percentage. Is that accurate?
A lot of our comparable districts, I know that number that we had is about, we're at about a $27 million disadvantage per year to the average of our comparable districts. And several of those are closer to their max. And those maxes vary a little bit by district. But yeah, several of them, every time there is an increase to AV, they're able to go out to their communities and take the max.
Okay.
We are only about 1/4 of what we could be levying.
Okay. And I'm not saying that because I'm saying let's go, levy all that, but I just think it'll be important, especially for when Amy presents in a second on the budget, the proposed budget, and what that's going to look like for us moving forward. That we may need to have some conversations as a community around that because it's not looking great. And there are opportunities to help with that, but it would mean potentially future mill levy overrides in our community. Okay.
Absolutely.
Mel, I have a quick question. I know that some time ago, you and I got to meet with the assessors so that when people are looking at this similar graph on their tax bill, we were just going to be able to explain it more. Because I think a lot of people don't realize that those 27 mills, like you said, is set by CDE. That is not something that we ever went out and asked for, that like the state actually sets that. And, when you do look at your tax bill and you see like the school district has many line items on there, obviously, because we've passed quite a few different things. I think there's a misnomer there that one larger chunk that they see was somehow something they approved years ago. And so are we still on track with kind of making sure that when people get their tax bill this year, it's going to be lined out a little bit more intricately or maybe just more explicitly?
Yeah, so I think there will be a little bit of change on the tax bill itself, but also in the pamphlet that they put out. That's where we provided them with descriptions for each of the different levies and whether they were voter approved or they were set by a mandate. And so hopefully providing just more information to inform taxpayers about the different purposes for each each of those levies that they see on their bill. I actually reached out to their office today just to share with them these current numbers and the updated descriptions for the 2024 mill so that they can have that all updated for their document that they'll be preparing.
Yeah, because if you look at, obviously if you look at the 27 mills, but then when you actually look at what the chunk that where our communities actually voted, the piece of the pie is obviously much smaller. So I think when our community can kind of understand, I mean, we all get into this and you obviously live and breathe all of this. And so I think any little things we can do for people to understand, man, it seems like I pay the school district a lot. It's like, well, actually part of that is state mandated, and then there has been some that has been approved by our community. And then to Dr. Hill's point, it's like we're actually only using 8% of the potential of what we could ask. And we don't take that lightly, but I just think it helps get your head wrapped around like what that funding actually looks like for the district. Because unlike municipalities, we don't get to go out and charge sales tax or do anything else. Like, we really rely on these types of funds to obviously fund public education. And we actually get very few federal dollars. It is usually state and local that is obviously the larger chunk of it. So I think any of that helps our community understand that we're different than municipalities. And I think it's easy for people to want to think that we're the same, but we're not, and we don't have as many funding sources as they do.
I think one other misconception is that when property values are increasing like they did last year, that we somehow get more money out of that. But because of the way that our MLOs are set up, where they're for a fixed dollar amount, and then our bond repayment is just the amount that we need in order to repay the debt, and then local share is set at a set number of mills. And so all of those pieces don't generate additional dollars for the district. On the local share side of things, where that is set at 27 mills, that just means that the state's backfill decreases the more that is generated locally. So I think that's another misconception that we've been working to provide information on as well. This graph is actually one that I provided to the assessor's office, and so hopefully they'll be able to include that in the pamphlet. But again, just to walk over it, it's like 60% of that is our PPR total program funding set by the state. And then another 25% are our capital improvements. And then those remaining pie slices there are the MLOs. And so this one, I think, does a nice job of breaking that out, I guess, into what people are paying on their bills.
Yeah, you make a great point. When people were asking questions about the bond and mill that was just voted on, there was a misconception that the district got like a windfall of money because of the property taxes. And then when I told them that a couple of our mills were flat rate, that was news to them. And so I was like, well, we don't get any more money. We get the same amount. So, and I think even the state backfilling it, it's like if our mill goes up, the state backfills less. It's not like like you said, the pie doesn't just get bigger, it's the pieces of the pie shift, right? So I think that's really good information, so. Or do you guys have any other questions? Okay.
All right.
All right,
Thank you all.
Mel, appreciate it, and friends. Thanks.
Yeah.
I think they might have left, which is good.
I hope they left.
Yes. All right, thank you.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Mel and her team. We have a great finance department, so we appreciate all y'all's work. I would say probably the best in the state, but we're hidden out here on the western slope, so no, don't steal them. All right, I think Amy Atwood is online, hopefully, and she's going to give our legislative update. Amy, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me and see me?
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Amy Atwood, contract lobbyist with the district. And that was a great segue from Mel, because the number one topic that I'd like to talk about tonight is the budget. And I spoke with Dr. Hill and Mel yesterday about this and other things in detail. And those, I think everyone went to CASB, and so you would have heard this at CASB as well, but it's great for the public to hear it too. So going into next year, building the 25-26 budget, the state is $950 million down. So they're basically $1 billion down, and that is keeping current obligations. So anything that is currently in law, including, and it also includes caseload increases, projected increases in Medicaid, as well as inflation and enrollment. So with $1 billion already in the red, the Joint Budget Committee and the legislature, as well as the governor, is looking for places to cut. And they keep saying, a term they use is finding all the coins in the couch cushions. And they say it over and over every day at the Joint Budget Committee. So with that, knowing $950 million down, and this current year, if you remember, the budget stabilization factor was eliminated. And the governor, the legislature, the Joint Budget Committee, they all have made the commitment not to bring back the budget stabilization factor. So that is a big deal, but that doesn't mean that there won't be cuts in other places. And like Mel said, when those percentages shift, the state versus local, you're not getting any more money. It's just how those percentages shift. And where we will see cuts are specifically in grant funding. And there are about 77 grants in the competitive grants in the state. And when I say they, that means the Joint Budget Committee, which are members of the legislature. They have said that is the first place that they're going to look to cut. So when we look at what kind of grants does the district get, that not to plan on those going forward. Another place is in career and technical education. They are not planning on increasing the amount of money that will go into that. They're planning to keep it flat, but there is such a push for students to be post-secondary ready. It's bringing the pool of money. So many more students are getting certificates. So that means that there is less money to go back out to the district for offering those types of certificates. There is also a push that no unfunded mandates. Now we hear that every year, and you would have heard that at CASB as well, that we've always as districts said no unfunded mandates. But the Joint Budget Committee feels very strong that if the state can't afford to do it, then that cost shouldn't be pushed down on districts. So if there are any new programs that are coming forward that are going to cost districts money or the state, the chair of the Joint Budget Committee said he's a hard no. He's just a hard no. If the state can't afford it, then that shouldn't be pushed down on to the districts. So that is a positive. There has been discussion about efficiencies for districts, and if there are ways for CDE in particular to find efficiencies for districts, whether it's in data reporting. They talked a lot within data reporting that if there are ways that the department can find efficiencies, that's also a way to help and save money for the department, but also for districts. Let me just check my notes. When it comes to inflation, as you are building your budget for next year, 2.5% seems to be the standard and the norm where the JBC staff, governor's office is landing when it comes to inflation. So that's a good number to use when you're going forward and you're building your budget. So it isn't a rosy outlook at all when it comes to the state budget, but I think the commitments and the right signals are being sent that they are going to try really hard not to balance the state budget on the backs of education, which is what the budget stabilization factor has been. That's why it was there. They didn't eliminate it in statute, but they did eliminate the amount of money that was being put towards that in the end was a cut to districts. So if we have a year where we really hold flat, that would be considered a win for sure for next year. Are there any questions on the budget?
I did have one question. One of the things, and I think you were talking about post-secondary training, and you said if the state can't afford it, it won't be pushed down onto districts. So whose couch are we going to be digging in then?
Right. Well, and particularly with CDIP, the career development incentive program, that is one that started with $1,000 reimbursement to districts, and it has doubled every year the participation. And we did get a good bump in that last year, up to $10 million, but it's not $1,000 reimbursement anymore. It's $250. So it goes back to the districts. Is this a program, something that you want to offer? But then you have to weigh that with, it's also part of the performance framework for the district. So you make a really, really good point that you're mandated to offer these types of programs, but the pool for reimbursement is, I'm not thinking of the right word. It's being diluted because there's so much participation. I would like to mention one thing about grants. SPED, special education, is being protected. So SPED has been moved really all under categorical funding, and it's not a factor, it's a categorical, which is in school finance. So the district gets special education funding through a grant, but it's formulaic. So it really should be protected.
Well, and just to add to that, we budget knowing we're never going to actually get reimbursed for all the programs that we offer for CTE, concurrent enrollment, things like that. So, you and Sherry and her team work really hard to file for those reimbursements as much as we can, but we never actually get 100% of the funding back. So we always have to budget that in or put that into our budget. And then even with special education, it doesn't cover anywhere near the amount that we actually spend on special education services. So we just have to create a budget in a way knowing that we're not going to actually get reimbursed for those things. And to Amy's point, it's frustrating when there is such a push for making sure that kids are post-secondary ready and to offer all these programs, and then you don't actually have the funding for it. And then if anything, the funding is going to stay flat. And like you said, if you have more kids wanting to take advantage of it, or if costs go up, things like that, it ends up just falling back on the school districts in the end. So it just makes it tougher.
So Amy, Andrea here. So I'm also on the CASB board for Region 10, and we had a quarterly meeting before the CASB convention. And there's some discussion or concern that while we said the budget stabilization factor is going away, that there is actually some wording that seems very much like a budget stabilization factor like deal that may be coming out of the governor's office. So have you heard anything around that? Or I think CASB might actually take a position in that we don't want to see anything like a budget stabilization factor or the budget stabilization factor itself to show up to try to rectify the state budget. We kind of feel like we might have to lend the state our finance team so that they can get their budget rectified. I mean, being almost $1 billion in debt, they need to obviously look to cut those things, but not from education. So I was just curious if you'd heard any rumblings of them trying to kind of do a workaround when it comes to that BS factor.
Sure. So I think one thing that they're referring to is with declining enrollment. And so Colorado has one count date, and that's in October. And it is very, very labor and resource intensive for districts as well as the department. And the governor has always, for his 6 years, wanted Colorado to move to a multiple count date so that it reflects more accurately where students are. There's a difference between October to, say, March or April. He also does not like that Colorado has a rolling average. And if you remember, I believe it was a 5-year rolling average. With the new school finance formula, it moved to a 4-year rolling average. And that was something that specifically got D51 in a support position on that piece of legislation, was that we can't go to zero. And the governor is looking, he wants to bring it to take away any averaging, and it is what your current enrollment is what you will be funded for. And that washes out 17,500 students across the state. So that is that's a way to free up money immediately. There are some Senate Republicans that support that. There is not widespread support for that because Colorado, many of the big districts in Colorado are seeing declining enrollment. So that averaging is really important. There may be some negotiations around the 4-year averaging where we move to multiple count dates. That could help with it. Maybe it goes to a 3-year. I don't see it going lower than a 3-year average, but there isn't widespread support to move it to zero at all. He also had in his budget the new school finance formula. 20% of it was supposed to be, it's being rolled out over a number of years, over 5 years, and 20% a year. Well, he wants it to go down to 10% next year, not 20%. And it was the speaker's bill, if you remember, and she has pulled together a small group of CFOs to talk about that, and she does not support that at all, at all. And so I think we can look forward to hopefully a 20% rollout, and the averaging maybe going to 3 years, but there's a huge push to keep it at 4 years because we had to negotiate down to 4 years in the beginning. And I think Dr. Hills talked about this as it's like the bait and switch. You got us, this is what we needed to support your bill. And then now you're just pulling the rug from underneath us. Yeah. And we do have legislators that sit on the Joint Budget Committee, in particular Representative Taggart, that was the only reason that he supported it, was because the district came into a support position and the averaging was a big part of that.
Yeah, I mean, the averaging, because we don't get the numbers from the state until so late in the year, the averaging really helps us to be able to determine what our next year's budget is going to be. So while I understand that they want to go to actuals and not averaging, I mean, they would have to be a complete overhaul of them making their decision much earlier in the year for us to be able to anticipate our budget, because otherwise it's like what comes first, you know? So yeah, I would expect that they might try to negotiate lessening that averaging. But it is concerning from a district standpoint and trying to obviously handle our budget. So thanks for kind of teeing that up and wrapping that up into something as far as what we were talking about. Did you have something?
No, the only thing I was going to say is if they were to push that second count date out into March, what would the attrition be? Do we have any idea between October and March?
We can look it up, but I mean, as the year goes on,
You're going to have that, so that could really be detrimental.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is whether, we already knew we were going from 5 to 4, so we planned for that. To go from planning for 4 to 0 is really tough, but even if it goes to 3 or 2, it's still going to be a hit to our school districts. I just want to make sure the public understands that it's going to be an issue for us because we have been declining and we're going to continue to decline. And so the averaging just helped us a little bit more to have a softer landing. If he pulls the rug out, as you said, it's just going to be a pretty rough landing for us. So we need to be, and I know Mel and her team are, but we need to be prepared for whatever happens. It's not going to be what we've been able to do in the past, unfortunately. So
I'm confident the Joint Budget Committee is going to wrangle in. I mean, the governor can make whatever requests he wants, but that doesn't mean the JBC is going to say yes to all of it. So they've got to work at obviously rectifying the budget. So, and I love that we have one of our own local representatives there, and he understands our district quite well. So, I'm thankful for that. Board, did you guys have any other questions? Amy, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of D51 at the Hill.
Great. Thank you.
All right, have a good night. All right, Dr. Hill.
So I have Clint and his team come up for energy performance contract and audit.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? All right. I have Caleb Shin with me tonight with Schneider Electric, and he'll be here to answer the really tough questions.
We met Caleb a few days ago.
Oh, you did? Okay, great.
We had lunch with him.
Awesome.
At Casby.
Good job.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about an energy audit and some potential performance contracting moving forward in parallel with our bond work, but we'll talk about energy auditing for a minute here. So you probably remember last year we had Keegan up here talking about some energy savings that we had, about $500,000 worth of energy savings that was pretty significant. And so to tag onto that, we want to do some additional work to see some additional savings. And so last year, about this time in the spring, we started to talk about what that might look like and how we could do something through performance contracting. We met in the fall with some stakeholders, with finance, with our legal here. We also met with the county as well, who are currently working on an energy contract, and I think actually having some work done right now. Is that correct? And so we talked with them about how that process is going, and they're seeing some benefits already to doing some performance contracting. We are looking at getting approval for an IGA for that energy audit, and then in the fall of 2025, looking at doing a performance contract, and that's something that we can run in parallel again with the bond work that we're going to be starting to do next year as we start construction. All right, so what happens if we do this energy audit? Well, we'll see and move forward with performance contracting. We'll see a 20 to 30% reduction in energy costs. And over the life of the work that we would do, we'd see $26 million to $30 million in total savings over the next 20 years. There are some potential grants that we can go forward with. There's some BEST grants that we could apply for, some tax code and Inflation Reduction Act money that's available. There's also some safety and security money that's available that Schneider would also help us procure if we want to move forward with that, and I guess we probably would. And then there's also some utility rebates that are available. We don't know what those look like. Those change from year to year, what the utility rates might be. And then program addresses major needs while generating project funding. So the potential scope of work that we're looking at doing is LED retrofits district-wide, optimizing light levels in classrooms, and staying compliant with the current fluorescent ban, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Upgrades to building automation, major HVAC replacements, safety and security improvements, water conservation upgrades. And there's some other items there to the right as well. And project scope provides benefits beyond efficiency gains. So again, we've talked about some of the work that we're going to be doing in our bond projects. And some of those are educational adequacy stuff. So we want our classrooms to be optimized for learning. And a lot of that includes our lighting and some of our HVAC systems as well. We want kids to be comfortable in the classrooms. So again, classroom lighting levels would be optimized, occupancy, comfort improvements, increased control for facilities, extended useful life of our equipment, safer school campuses, of course, and then that would free up time for operations and maintenance staff not having to work on some of the stuff that we have right now that's not working so well. All right, so why this program? Well, with this project, more taxpayer dollars will go towards directly benefiting D51 students and staff, and less will go to our utility bills and capital repairs, reinvesting $1 million annually from our utility providers back into the classroom. The scope of work identified will provide major improvements to physical learning environments across the district, and again, optimizing lighting levels and improving occupant comfort. This program allows us to stay in compliance with state requirements. The Clean Lighting Act, what you may not know, and was a surprise to me and a few of us here, is starting at the beginning of next year, you will not be able to buy a fluorescent tube, and they will stop manufacturing those. So we are being put in a position where LED lighting is going to have to be done in our buildings at some point. And so this is the opportunity that we have to take a look at that and to start taking action on that across the district. And then building performance standards, keeping up with our building performance standards. Keegan has a report that he has to do annually for the state, and so this will help with that as well. And this is an opportunity to gain significant efficiencies and demonstrate fiscal responsibility, saving taxpayer money now and well into the future, and then just reducing our overall costs. This program gives us the ability to tackle deferred maintenance and reduce our operating costs without burdening the general fund. So one of the things that will happen with some of this work as we start to identify it through this audit is some of this work with lighting or HVAC controls or HVAC systems themselves may be able to be done through this performance contracting, offsetting some of the bond project costs that were bond projects. And so we can then use those dollars to use in other areas in another building, or maybe in that same building to do additional work that may need to be done. All right, so project milestones, we want to obviously see an approval to move forward with this energy audit. And then this process really is just a collaborative design process, scope and funding, and this will take about 6 to 9 months to do the audit. And then we'd start the project implementation next year when we start the bond work as well.
So you were talking about 20 to 30% reduction. Is that on top of what we've already experienced? Having
Yes.
done what we've already done?
Yeah, because the work that we've done already was done through scheduling, time of day scheduling, and some of the work that Keegan has done with being really thoughtful about setting our time of days so we're not running units when people aren't in the buildings, when they're unoccupied. We want them only running when they're occupied. That's even when we're doing, when we have folks in the building for events, sporting events or after-school events, we're only turning the units on when people are in the building. So those are savings that we've already seen, and those won't go away. This is an addition to.
They actually should increase even more if we're getting
Absolutely.
more energy efficient all the way around. And then my other question is, the upgrades that we're going to have to do in order to, I mean, obviously the lighting's going to be required and that sort of thing. However, on the rest of it, if that's not included in our priority one expenditures on each of the buildings or whatnot, how are we going to balance timing, I guess, for reaching that 20 to 30% if we can't afford to do all of the work?
Do all the work with the lighting, or?
No, do all the work with whatever it is going to be. I mean, you're going to do this audit. They're going to say, if you make these changes,
Correct.
you're going to see this kind of efficiency. So
Absolutely.
I'm just curious if we'll have an idea of really how much of that 20 to 30% we're going to be able to attain if we can only do 30% of the work. Do you see what I'm saying?
Sure. Well, our intent is to, once the audit is done, to look at everything from building automation controls to HVAC systems to lighting. There's some other items in there as well. And then look at the cost to do that, and then make a decision on what we believe we can do, and then move forward with those projects specifically.
And I might add that
Is this working?
No, because they can't hear you online. Hang on just a minute.
Can you do performance contracting on microphones?
We could use that.
That. So during that 6 to 9 month investment grade audit phase, we're looking at anything that like hits your gas, water, or electric bill, and we're essentially going to go through all the buildings, look at all that stuff, see what efficiencies at the equipment level exist. So pretty early on in the process, we'll have an idea of what scope or what potential energy conservation measures exist and what like the savings percentage is. So, I mean, by the midway point, we'll have all of that detailed out. And then based off of what the savings look like, how many grants, what state incentives, what tax incentives exist, we'll kind of whittle down that scope. And the idea is to find a project that fully funds itself. So it costs $1, it saves $1. And if we can use the savings from things like lighting that costs $1 and saves $5 to fund deferred maintenance, controls, HVAC, infrastructure, things that the district needs to tackle could be part of the bond. This is just a way to fund them differently. So as far as where you land, 20 to 30% energy savings will be dictated by the scope, but pretty early on in the process, we'll have an idea of what scope will generate what amount of savings. And we'll work with the district to fine tune kind of the package of scope that gets you to that self-funded spot.
Well, you mentioned there's some energy grants out there as well, that is that like tied if we do this audit? Is there like a requirement for those grants?
So grants are kind of tricky and very scope dependent, right? And very like based off of the demographics of the district. So Mesa County, for example, they're funding about $11.5 million worth of work. They have a little bit of solar in there. And with solar, there are different tax incentives that exist. Those tax incentives don't exist with lighting. So it's hard to know exactly what will make sense, but safety and security, Clint had mentioned, we've been very effective at helping school districts take advantage of 2 different DOJ grants. There's a COPS and a STOP grant, and those are fairly common and easy to apply for and get funding for. But if you don't want any safety and security scope, then you wouldn't be going after those. There's a highly competitive Renew America Schools energy grant that's out there, but it's highly competitive, and like 0.5% of the districts that go after it get it. So I think at the early stages of the conversation where we're talking about the potential scope, we'll kind of line that up with the different funding opportunities that exist and make a decision from there as to what we want to pursue. But ideally, we're getting as much of this funded by incentives and grant funding as possible. As Amy mentioned, there aren't a ton of state grants, and those seem to be drying up. At the federal level, there still are quite a bit. So it's a matter of just kind of lining up the scope that the district wants to go after and what's out there.
So on average, what would you say, let's say the district has $100 million worth of work that needs to be done in order to get the savings. What percentage of that have you found that you get funded by grants and other ways to fund it besides us paying for it?
It's super case by case, and I know that's not a helpful answer. Cripple Creek School District is a small 2-building school district with 300 kids, and we helped them get both a DOLA grant and a COPS grant and help them submit for an EPA community change grant that would fund like $16 million worth of work, and their annual budget is $6 million. So, and that's an extreme example. District 11 in Colorado Springs, they're looking at about $25 million in scope that will be totally funded by energy savings and then some. In fact, they'll have like $200,000 in additional funding every year, but there's only like $1.5 million worth of grants there. So I can't really give you a great answer, but I can promise you that we will look at as many incentive funding opportunities as we can.
And did it make sense that whatever we take out, whatever the loan is that we take out, those payments will be made with the energy savings that we see?
Right.
What is our timeframe if, as the board approves it, for the audit to start? What is your ideal, Clint?
So these guys are ready to go, and we've already started the conversation about
Okay.
getting started on the buildings.
It's great. Yeah, if it's 6 to 9 months, obviously the sooner the better.
Yep.
And just to build on what Clint said earlier, so if we are able to offset costs from bond projects, you know, that's the reason why we did the facility master plan, right? So we want to remind the community that we have $600+ million worth of needs, so it's not as if we are able to take care of all of it with the bond dollars we have now. So if we can find savings through this, we have a plan, a roadmap now that we can start taking care of other needs that maybe weren't part of phase one, but we're going to be part of phase two of another bond package, which will be great for us to be able to do that. And then, you know, I do appreciate Clinton and his team looking into this. This is something we've talked about even when I first got here, and it never really went anywhere. So I appreciate his team looking into this and taking it on, because it's actually, I've talked to superintendents from other school districts that have worked with Schneider, and they've seen really great results. I know y'all are working with Mesa County. I think y'all did work with CMU potentially too. Not CMU, never mind. Mesa County and the other school districts I've talked to have said they've seen really great results from it as well. So I'm optimistic that this will be good for us as well, and we can again take on more of the building deficiencies and needs that we have in our district beyond maybe what we thought we were going to be able to do with the bond dollars that we have now. So, but I just want to reassure the community that that was why we did the 25-year facility master plan. So if we find any efficiencies and savings, it's not just going to be some random projects. It would be things that are within that scope of work that we were going to do in phase two.
Great. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you. Thanks for coming over, Caleb, as well, to be here for the meeting. Appreciate it. So
Thank you.
Thanks, Caleb.
We'll include microphones.
we have to vote now? Is that later in our business meeting, or do we need to do the vote now?
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
No, we want to do it later.
Can we do it in business?
I'll put it down as,
In business?
yeah, I'll put it under business items. Thank you.
Okay,
Love-
thank you. And then, so next up, we, if the board's good with continuing, or do y'all need a break?
Just a second. Board, we'll have to do a motion to amend the agenda and then add that on as an item to vote for the legal counsel to get into negotiations on the audit. So just remind me, I'm making myself a note. Okay, sorry. Okay, is the board good? We have Grand Junction High School. We have a few more things. Do you need a 5? Okay. All right, yeah, I guess we're already about 2 hours in, so. Okay, we're gonna take a 10-minute, we'll be back at 7. Okay, thank you.
You're good now.
Okay. All right, it's 7 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and resume our meeting. We do have a couple of changes we need to make to the agenda, so we'll go ahead and just take care of that right now. So we're going to move the strategic plan community partnerships up to our next item under the superintendent's report. And then we are also adding under board business J5, a vote for the board to authorize negotiations and sign the performance contract per the last presentation. So, board, do I have a motion to approve those amendments to the agenda?
Motion to approve the amendments.
Second.
Seeing no discussion, we can vote on those changes.
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right. That passes 5-0. So, okay, we can go ahead and have the strategic plan team come up and update.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're part of the Engaged and Supportive Community Partners, part of the strategic plan. My name is Angela Christensen, and I'm the Executive Director of the School District 51 Foundation.
And I'm Andrea Kemper. I'm the CTE Director and Assistant Director of Career and College Readiness.
And I'm Tracy Gallegos, and I'm the Director of Access, Opportunity, and Family Partnerships. Hi, everybody.
All right. Tonight, we are excited to share the work that we've been doing on the strategic plan since we last presented to you, as well as share celebrations that highlight the progress of this past year. We've really made great strides this year in operationalizing our strategic plan. This, I think we're gonna.
There we go.
So this slide lists the members of our community task force, and we'd like to celebrate the growth of our committee as we've added key members to keep the work moving forward. Our new members also showcase the connectedness between all of the focus areas of the strategic plan. We know that this work cannot be done in isolation. So working with key community partners, we've been able to utilize their strengths to come together to create, honestly, something bigger than any single one of us could have done alone. There is strength in our collective and focused efforts. And you can see the list of all the names of the folks, and it's a very robust list. 2 months ago, we gathered with our task force, and as you can see in this picture, we were happy to see that the engagement level remained high with so much participation, even at this point of the strategic planning process. We are deeply grateful for our task force members, 2 of whom are here with us tonight in the back. We're thrilled for that. And some of them have been able to help us from the launch of this work, and others have joined as we knew we needed to grow and fill in gaps we defined in the prior year.
Our D51 graduate profile is a powerful tool that keeps our why at the forefront of our work. 4 years ago, when we developed our strategic plan, we hosted a series of community meetings. We invited district staff, teachers, and leaders to join our invaluable community partners, families, and current D51 students to co-create the content of this profile. This very room was filled with energy and collaboration as together we crafted a vision to ensure that every student in D51 will be engaged, equipped, and empowered to be creative problem solvers who are culturally connected and prepared for both career and life upon graduation. What I love about our guiding framework, it not only emphasizes the importance of academics, but it also drives us to incorporate essential life skills into our instruction. These include creativity, critical thinking, resilience, innovation, teamwork, communication, self-awareness, advocacy and self-direction. Additionally, it fosters an overall awareness of where our students want to be as they transition from their K-12 education into the next phase of their lives.
As you know, our strategic purpose is to identify and communicate strategic partnerships with organizations and institutions in the community to support the advancement of the district's strategic goals and initiatives. For year 3, our goal is to deepen partnerships with our community partners. Specifically, these partnerships will be designed to support student career exploration, mental health, and deepened family partnerships. In October, we met with our community action team to share progress from each committee and our goals and plans for the upcoming year. As a reminder, we generated the following committees you can see here. The Family Partnership Team has created opportunities for families to connect to our schools and each other through the Brunch and Learn and Coffee and Connect series. In addition, representatives from the Access, Opportunity, and Family Partnerships Department have been working to increase advocacy efforts in the schools and community. The Career Readiness Team researched Colorado school districts' best practices for engaging and tracking community partners. This work culminated in identifying a useful tool that will connect community members with our schools and students to support career-connected learning. The Wellness Team has categorized ways that the community partners have engaged with D51, as well as gaps that need addressed. Tonight, we want to share our progress and a couple of celebrations from this year as we continue to operationalize our strategic plan. As a reminder, our focus area brings together key community partners, and several have had the chance to speak about how they support D51. One of the ways these partners have come together is to create consistency in partnership management across the Valley. Part of this effort was focused on finding a more user-friendly community partnership database. While we started our community partnership tracking tool, this created momentum to find a platform that is more interactive, sortable, and useful. The work group chose to add a program to our already successful SchoolLinks platform, which means a more seamless experience for our students and staff. SchoolLinks is the main resource for our ICAP curriculum, and now will house our experiential side of ICAP and industry partnership management. This allows students to connect their learning about themselves, careers, training programs, and adulting, or life skills, to actual experiences with community partners, where students can then test drive careers through guest speaker visits to schools, worksite tours in the community, job shadows, internships, and apprenticeships that our partners are offering to our students. This edition allows us to track partnerships and the type and frequency of engagement with these community members. The tool also allows us to schedule events and tours, manage work-based learning experiences, and track data. As we are trained on this tool and begin to share with our community partners, it will help us deepen our relationships with members of the community and ultimately scale this work so that more students have access to career-connected learning opportunities and future success planning.
More celebrations that highlight our progress include the following. The first is our Coffee and Connect. In an effort to continue the connection with parents and families, we started last spring with our Brunch and Learn. And this fall, we hosted our Coffee and Connect that provided an opportunity for PTO, PTA, accountability members, and D51 ambassadors to come together to hear from Dr. Hill and share ideas and tips with one another. This was truly inspired by Vice President Jones when we gave our Year 1 presentation. These engaged community members shared ideas about how to support one another and how to support schools through fundraising efforts, recruiting more involvement from parents at their schools, and engaging more families in every aspect of their school. Measuring community support can be challenging, and we know how important that support is for all of our schools. The passage of 4A and 4B this fall is one way to measure community support. Our community supported both the Bond and the Mill initiatives that will provide needed resources at schools across the district. Central High School and Fruita Monument High School will receive significant updates. The Mill will continue to provide funding for additional school days and updated curriculum that has been so key in our recent academic success as a district. although the needs as outlined in the 25-year master plan are still significant. This will make a big difference across D51. Strong, well-supported schools are key to a thriving community. Thank you to everyone who said yes to D51. In September, our second annual Strong Schools, Strong Communities Luncheon brought together over 150 community partners and businesses who know and value the key role of public schools and the role that they play throughout the community. The D51 Foundation was proud to be the sponsor of this important event. Dr. Hill gave his State of the District address, updating our community on our celebrations and sharing where we could use some more support. In addition, the audience heard firsthand from students from 5 of our high schools. This event was a tangible way that we are operationalizing our strategic plan.
Another exciting event we'd like to celebrate is the successful district-wide Workforce Development Day. This day truly showcases the integration of our community partners in offering ways for students to gain access to career readiness planning. There are a lot of ways that our community supports us, and oftentimes it's one partner doing one specific thing for a school. The great thing about this event is that we had over 100 community members who came together to put on this career-focused conference for over 1,000 D51 juniors. That's a lot of students who connected with local industry members and future employers, and they got to choose the sessions that were of interest to them, just like adults might when we attend a conference. And that was based on their ICAP learning and their future plans. Our volunteers helped to plan and coordinate the event for our students. They recruited and took part in industry panels, put on skill building sessions, and planned and hosted a resource and hiring fair. We had multiple key players that helped on the planning committee, including the Grand Junction, Palisade, and Fruita Chambers, the Mesa County Workforce Center, Colorado Mesa University, Growl Marketing, and of course our D51 Counselor Alignment Team that creates and manages the delivery of our ICAP curriculum and coordinates the monthly experiential career and college events. A couple of pictures here from our big day. Other collaborative events that we've had, similar in nature, include our recent Career Construction Day in October, our Healthcare Day in early November at St. Mary's, and just last week, our Business Entrepreneurship Worksite Tours. Again, our community continues to step forward as they host interacting and engaging career exploration tours and experiences for our students who have an interest in these career pathways. I also want to highlight our 3rd annual Middle School Options Fair, where all 8th grade students get to visit with high schools and community-sponsored programs so that they can figure out what they want to do when they transition on to high school. It's a great opportunity for them to think about their career interests and what classes in high school might help them explore those interests further as they plan for an exciting future. Some upcoming events that we have starting in January. We have an advanced manufacturing trip in January that will visit local businesses who are looking to hire our skilled graduates. Our yearly CMU Tech Tours are coming up as well. We take all of the 9th and 10th grade students this year to see the programming available. We also have Career Center presenting to each grade as well on those days. It's really just a great way to highlight the robust options available to our students through D51 Career and Technical Education and the college-level CTE programs available through our wonderful partnership with CMU. The timing is really perfect because as students begin to work on their ICAP in the spring and plan for their intentional course schedule that meet their career goal needs for the upcoming year, this gives them a peek at what they have available as opportunities. In February, students experience various careers in public service, such as emergency medical services, criminal justice, and wildland fire. And then in March, we have our annual Healthcare Day at Community Hospital. And this is really a long-standing event and the model for our recent additional Healthcare Day back in November. As you know, healthcare careers are one of the most needed jobs in our community, and our spring tour has always been full with a wait list. We're grateful to have two great partners that support our students in learning about the various careers and training opportunities to enter into the healthcare field. There are more events in the spring, but this is just a sample of what our students have to look forward to.
Staff and student wellness truly showcases the power of these partnerships. As you can see in this slide, the substantial number of partnerships happening to create a win for kids, a win for the school district, and truly a win for our community. The staff wellness team is working to provide opportunities for our D51 employees that improve their physical and mental health, such as monthly wellness challenges and a healthy eating series. A couple of our key partners include Monument Health, Gandola Goods, Brady Chiropractic, and Fruta Chiropractic and Massage. Another wellness event was our D51 Benefits Vendor Fair. This event brings together our healthcare community partners and our employees. Our employees have the opportunity to speak directly to representatives at Monument Health, UMR, Novo Benefits, Intermountain Health, Triad, Delta Dental, and several others.
The Office of Family Partnerships is committed to deepening engagement with all families to create meaningful and impactful relationships that support student success. Our work is guided by the dual capacity framework for family and school partnerships developed by Dr. Karen Mapp. This research-based model emphasizes building capacity within both schools and families to foster authentic collaboration. Rather than relying solely on parental involvement, the framework prioritizes shared responsibility, equipping educators and families with the skills and understanding to work together effectively. Tonight, I'm going to highlight some initiatives that we are implementing to support both of our families and our students. Starting with this slide and looking at our family offerings, we host monthly informational meetings for families to provide updates on D51 programs and share valuable resources from community partners. Topics covered this year include registration, attendance, parents and students' rights, parent view, and graduation requirements. We also hosted a community partnership resource night featuring presentations from organizations such as Hilltop, 211, Family Resource Center, La Plaza, Mesa County Public Libraries, and the Joseph Center, with additional input from the City of Grand Junction and an organization called Omni Salud. We recently completed a 4-part Newcomer 101 workshop designed for families new to our community and often new to our country. This series provides essential guidance on accessing educational and legal systems, fostering informed participation. Our next workshop, What is Mental Health?, aims to empower families with the knowledge to navigate and support mental health challenges. The Family Literacy Program is an evidence-based model developed by the National Center for Family Learning. It emphasizes collaborative learning by modeling educational strategies and promoting connections. We help families support student learning at home. And looking at some of the ways that we offer supports to our educators, our attendance advocates, our reach advocates, and our family partnership advocates receive specialized training in areas such as motivational interviewing, high fidelity advocacy, and building trusting relationships through family home visits. Each title school has a designated family liaison who participates in ongoing professional development facilitated by our office. In collaboration with the statewide family engagement centers, we conducted a 4-part cultural relevance workshop led by Dr. Aset Merriam from the Black Parent Network. This series brought together D51 leaders and community partners. I'm pleased to report that our friends from CMU, the Department of Human Services, the Riverside Education Center, Second Wind Fund, the Freedom Institute, Transforming Justice, Hope West, Hilltop, Mesa County Public Libraries, La Plaza, Holy Family School, and the Black Citizens Friends all joined us for this experience. Our focus on creating trusting relationships between families and schools continues to yield positive outcomes. We're thrilled by the progress we've made and remain dedicated to fostering connections that ensure each and every student has the support they need to thrive each and every day.
We look forward to year 3, we're in the midst of it, of operationalizing the strategic plan in this vital area of continuing to pursue and highlight our engaged and supportive community partners. Some of our action steps for this year include launching our engagement flyer as a call to action to onboard new community partners or deepen relationships with some of our current partners. Onboarding D51 staff and community partners on our new platform, School Links, which houses our new community partnership tracking tool. Utilizing our new work-based learning team to review and update ways community partners engage with D51 and create a structure for recruiting and securing new partners. And after hosting 2 successful connection events for our PTO, PTA ambassador connections, we plan to coordinate a second spring brunch and learn to continue the collaborative efforts of supporting schools and deepening family engagement. We thank you for having us here tonight, and we're open to any questions you might have.
All right.
Just real quick, one, I do appreciate all the work that y'all been doing on the team, because if you think about it, we didn't really even have a family partnership department a few years ago, so the amount of work that's gone into this really from the ground up is huge. And I do want to thank, again, everybody who served on the team, but also, CEI, I think Alicia's here still somewhere back there. They come in monthly and work with the teams on making sure that this isn't a strategic plan that just sits on a shelf, but we actually are operationalizing it. We actually are making adjustments, and we're making sure that we're monitoring progress. And so thanks to Alicia, and I know Alex makes it out here a lot. And I mentioned that because we are in year 3 of our strategic plan. And I think on the Friday update last week, we sent out something about folks that want to be on the steering committee for the next strategic plan, because that process is starting up very soon. And as Trey mentioned, literally 3 years ago, we were sitting in this room with 50 to 60 people planning this strategic plan. We want the same thing this time around. We want folks to be at the table. We want it to be a community-driven process like it was last time, so we need folks to sign up for that so that we can create the next plan, because it's going to take us through 2030. It'll be a 5-year strategic plan that will start next year and take us through 2030. So we'll send out another communication specifically for that to families, but it was in the Friday update last week if folks are interested in serving on that, because we've made a lot of progress and we want to continue that momentum moving forward. So, but again, thank you all for all the work that you are doing. This is really important work. Thanks. So I think next we'll jump back up to Grand Junction High School construction update. So I think Micah's coming up for that.
Hello, everyone. I think we're waiting for a slideshow still, but it's good seeing everybody again. I'm Mike Adams with Dynamic Program Management. I've got Eddie Mort up here with the school district, as well as Jason Tisdall with Dynamic Program Management. Eddie had some jokes prepared for.
I did, but I forgot them. Yeah, I was going to dance. I forgot about that. Next time, I've got to work on that.
Which dance were you doing?
Oh, that's a good question. My daughter's going to state cheer on Friday, so I'll wait to see what she does there.
All right.
Well, we do need a delay, so go ahead and show us
some of the cheer routines. Is that what you're saying? I'm a little fragile these days. We did get to start our morning with Angela and Andrea this morning at 8 o'clock for a meeting, so that was awesome.
Good start, good finish. Well, I think we could probably, we don't want to take up too much of your guys' time, and it's fairly straightforward. We were out there today looking over the progress. As I'm sure most of you could see, the old school is nearly all down now. It is. I think there's a couple doors standing there in the northwest corner, the building still, but they have everything else down and are still working on cleaning up the rubble. They sort out some materials that can be recycled and haul it all off. So they've made good progress on that. And here in the coming months, you'll continue to see that south half of the site develop into sports fields. Right now, they're working on grading the baseball field. They're on the southeast side of the site. They'll be digging out foundations for the dugouts here soon. Fence poles are going in for the baseball fields. So starting to see a lot of progress. Tennis courts are actually something that you're probably going to see some good progress on here soon as well. They're doing the excavation and grading for that at the moment as well. In addition to that, the FCI is working on the exterior, renovations to the 2006 gym. The west side of that vestibule had to come off where the old building was, and so they're framing that up right now, putting some exterior sheathing on that, and then here in just a matter of a couple weeks, they'll have storefront framing with glazing going in there at the entrance, as well as masonry at the rest of the face of the building. Thanks, Amy, for getting this pulled up. Our typical overview of the budget and schedule, you can see where we are, to date, both as a percentage of days as well as a percentage of the budget. Maybe one thing to note there is just there was some money added to the budget for there was a couple extra tennis courts added, as well as it was decided to replace the football field grass with artificial turf. So that's the only thing to note there. Recently completed, I'm sure, hopefully you've got a chance to drive through the completed parking lot. I think it's certainly done quite a bit to relieve some congestion there. So that opened up directly following Thanksgiving break. And I believe students are still getting used to it, but it's certainly helpful to have that additional parking. Here's a picture of the existing building, the old building's foundation as they're working on digging out that rubble, as I mentioned earlier. And as I mentioned, those items in progress are mostly to do with site work and the 2006 gym renovations. Once again, here's just a site map that breaks down the different areas of the site and what will be happening then. You'll notice that blue there in the middle, that parking lot was completed, so that can be checked off the list. And then that large chunk of color there on the right side is what's really in progress right now. Got a couple of fun construction metrics in here for you guys, along with, you can see there in the picture, the exterior framing for that 2006 Ox Gym renovation. Another picture. We actually didn't get a drone video this year, so sadly no music. Jason did tell us he would beatbox for us. So yeah, got a whole show. Yeah. Here's a good picture of the baseball field area. And just there at the bottom of the picture, in the bottom left-hand side, you can see the roof of what used to be called the 700 building, which has seen some renovations on the inside of it as well. And will be used mostly as storage space for a couple different functions from the district, as well as a concessions area for the fields. And then bottom kind of right portion of the picture is where tennis courts will be. Another picture of the foundation coming out for the old school.
There's old steam tunnels.
Yeah.
There's steam tunnels underneath the U that came from the old boiler room. So yeah, there's tunnels underneath there.
Creepy. Way too soon.
And I think that really does it. So any questions from you all?
No questions. I would like to give just a shout out to Justin Whiteford. These trees look really nice, the ones that we were able to save. He came to me pretty early on in the project and said, you know, we'd really love to save some of these old trees and not have just completely scraped new landscaping across the whole thing. And they really are gonna, I think, look nice and give a little bit of settled in look instead of everything being newly scraped and replaced. So that was a great call on his part to think of that and then ask to get help to move forward with it. So that's great.
Definitely. That will provide a little bit of a buffer too between the fields and the roads. So that's great.
And I don't know whether we mentioned it at a previous meeting, but adding those 2 additional tennis courts will allow us to do tennis tournaments now. I know that's been a challenge for our tennis teams because we either have to coordinate with CMU or with the city out at Canyon View. And so this will actually serve our district as a whole to be able to hold the tournaments there. So I think that was a great call to be able to offer that for the whole of D51 for our tennis teams.
Yeah, I think once this is all done, we can hold matches for most everything here except for obviously not swimming and a couple other sports, and then not evening sports because there won't be lights, but to be able to keep as many of the athletic events there at the campus is a benefit. So, and then we'll still obviously need to utilize community partners like CMU for other things, but it will be great when these fields are done. And like you said, to be able to actually hold competitions there will be very nice.
Yeah, we just won't be on top of them. Like usually those seasons all interchange with one another. And then obviously we have a lot of, community members that like to use our parks. And so it can be a challenge at times. So I'm excited that we added those 2 additional courts. Any other comments? I did see the extra parking lot space. I'm sure the high school is very glad. It's not maybe as congested, so. Awesome, looks good.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you again.
Thank you. Next time, bring music.
Just record the beatboxing. So I think next up we've got the school calendar. So Jen, are you coming up, or is it just is there any questions? We did a 3-year calendar, which we had not done in the past. So the idea behind that was it was feedback from really families saying we don't want it to change so much every year drastically. We want to be able to plan a little bit better for family trips and things like that. So the board already approved that a couple years ago. So really this is just approving next year's calendar with that same structure. There's not any changes to it. I think the next time the committee will meet, is it this coming fall? It is. So we're hitting the end of our 3-year calendar. So there will be a committee that'll meet in the fall to talk about if we want to make any shifts. But what you have in your packet is really just sticking with what the committee came up with the last time around. So if there's any questions, Jen can answer them. But otherwise, it's just what we did last year, which is approving next year's calendar.
I didn't have any questions. I think from the board members that did have questions, we got those answered. Okay.
Great. All right, so then we will move on to our final item under my report, which is just an update on school boundaries. So I know Shannon's here. He's going to give a presentation that some of the stuff you've already seen, but just an update on potential boundaries for the 3 schools that were closed. And then Jen and Clint have some information they're going to share about specifically the Clifton boundaries. They surveyed some families and asked some questions around Thunder Mountain or Taylor, and they've got some options there as well. So tonight, I'm not asking the board to vote on anything because we want you to have this presentation, ask questions, and then based on that, we want to write up some resolutions and potentially hold a virtual meeting, special meeting later this week to just vote on it. So tonight's an opportunity to see those numbers and then ask questions. So I'll turn it over to Shannon.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's a privilege to be here. This presentation shows the boundary scenarios in conceptual form for the proposed school closures. So these are the boundary moves for Nisley, and you can see the area is sliced up into 4 different zones. 3 of those are assigned to Orchard Avenue, and 1 is assigned to Fruitvale. The enrollment numbers post-change are shown here with the 2 capacity bases from the Alvarez and Marsal report. All of these schools fit. There's a little bit of a negative number at Fruitvale under one of the capacity basis numbers, but the other one shows that there are 2 classrooms. So both of these, we are comfortable that the scenario works within the overall capacity constraints of the buildings. These numbers are PK through 5 to be consistent with the numbers presented in the Alvarez and Marsal report. I've recommended to the district if we have places where we want to mitigate classroom needs and create a better fit, that we might be able to move some pre-K programs around. That's a standard procedure for most districts to make adjustments of that type when they need to make another classroom available. I'm not suggesting that any of that is necessary here, but it's one of the tools in our toolbox. Regarding the descriptions of these areas, I've written this resolution language, and most of my clients do 3 things. They either adopt boundary changes via a map, or they adopt via a legal description, or they adopt using something in between. So this is in between, and I'm willing to write legal descriptions, but I'll tell you, there are 2 people that read legal descriptions: the guy that writes them and a surveyor if you ever have to proof anything. So I tend to present these in this fashion because it's a little bit easier for lay people to understand, but I've created this set of standalone description of the areas in case you want to use it, and I'll be following up writing legal descriptions just in case. Regarding the scenic boundary change, this one is very straightforward. The area that is north of Highway 340, AKA Broadway, would be assigned to Broadway Elementary, and the area that is south would be assigned to Wingate. And the students are very concentrated, but the boundaries are a little bit more complicated than that, and for this one I'll be writing a legal description because the northwestern edge of the scenic attendance area follows subdivision lot lines, and so I'll be writing that description for you. The section sizes and capacities were within the numbers that were presented in the A&M report. This sheet also shows that the scenario works well within the overall capacity strengths of those 2 schools. As far as resolution language, you could use this if you chose to, or I will have a legal description available for you at the subsequent meeting that Dr. Hill alluded to if you would like to adopt via that mechanism. Regarding these maps, I am working on adapting that to the GIS software that the county uses so that they can add these boundaries to their online lookup system immediately upon your approval. So I'm developing the formalized mapping that follows streets and lot lines instead of the conceptual circles that you see here. Regarding Clifton, we had quite a few scenarios and quite a bit of discussion about how to do this, and came up with a result where we divide the attendance area among 3 schools in 2 scenarios that remain online for you. One would be the area that's north of Front Street and east of Business 70 would either go to Taylor or to Thunder Mountain. So that is still a variable that needs to be decided upon. The area in the southwest corner would go to Chatfield, and the area in the southeast corner would go to Rocky Mountain. And we've vetted these populations at the section level, meaning grade to grade, classroom to classroom. We've gone through in these three buildings and evaluated the extent to which they fit, given the existing populations in these 4 destination schools, and found that fundamentally they work. Here is a lot layout that's a little bit different than that, that helps you in even more finite terms understand what we're looking at. So basically, Front Street is in the south edge of the green lots there. And then this is Business 70. Oops, I got lost. Business 70, that is this thick blue line that also corresponds to the middle school line. This is I-70. And then there's a large area across BLM line land that goes all the way up to the foot of the Book Cliffs. That's also in that attendance area that would be included. And then the neighborhood that goes to Chatfield is north of Grand River Canal and south of Front Street. And then there is a subdivision there, J. Lee Road, that is all accessed to the west. And all of those lots, including the lots on J. Lee Road, would be assigned to Chatfield. And then all of the blue lots that are east of there would be assigned to Rocky Mountain. The scenarios, according to the Alvarez and Marsal report, work. In the initial year, the inaugural year, Chatfield is very tight, but we've gone through and found that that would work given the resources available in the building. This is the Taylor scenario. So that area north of Front Street under this scenario would be assigned to Taylor Elementary School. And in this scenario, that area north of Front Street would be assigned to Thunder Mountain. There's a little bit of seat availability issue in Thunder under the smaller of the A&M capacity numbers, but under the larger permanent capacity, AKA comfortable fit scenario, or comfortable fit capacity, that enrollment would work in that building. And historically, we have seen that building work in that 550 range in the recent past. And so we are comfortable with that being viable on a section-to-section basis. Here is the resolution language that is somewhat simplified that you could use to describe the assignment of this area. The component on the top would go to Taylor or Thunder Mountain. That's the area that is north of Front Street. And I've attempted to simplify that, simplify that to the extent possible. And then down under the description of the Rocky Mountain area, you see me kind of transition back into the kind of legal description sounding language. But this will result in about a 3-page resolution for you, whereas the legal description would be more of a 7-page resolution. So I'll respond to direction from you and from staff regarding how I can support that process. Let's see. I think that's it. We did a survey associated with the area north of Front Street regarding Thunder Mountain or Taylor assignment. And I think Jen's going to come up and describe the results of the survey.
Thanks, Shannon. Yeah, so again, those other scenarios were ones that the board's already seen. And we actually, even the Taylor one was one that we originally looked at. And I know we had some discussions around, well, it seems like it's a further distance. Is that something that we want to look into? But, Jen's got some data that she can share. And, threw me off. Jen's got some data that she can share on the surveys with, because we did survey families up in that section to see what the preference would be. And then I think there's also just some pros and cons around Taylor or Thunder Mountain that we can have a discussion about. So, and then y'all can ask questions. So I'll let Jen share a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we reached out to the families that live right in that green area. We reached out in 3 different ways. We created a survey and we sent that survey out via email. We sent the survey out via text. And then after a couple days of having the survey open, we cross-referenced who had answered, because part of the survey we asked, what is your name, what is your address, because we wanted to make sure that we were capturing feedback from the area that we wanted. Then we cross-referenced who had answered and who hadn't. We weren't able to get everybody. Unfortunately, we found there's a number of people that block the school district's telephone number, and they also block email requests as well. So of the families that we were able to get answers from, either straight from the survey or from interviews over the phone, the majority wanted Taylor. Next, then it was Thunder Mountain. We gave them a preference. I shouldn't say what they wanted. What would they prefer? Which school would they prefer? Knowing that this now is a busing neighborhood, they would have their bus either way to Taylor Elementary or to Thunder Mountain. It was Taylor, then Thunder Mountain, and a large number said no preference, so you can decide. We also asked for input, like, why did you choose the one that you chose? And for Taylor Elementary, both was based on convenience. They had family or siblings, or they had gone to Thunder Mountain or Taylor. But Taylor specifically, they chose Taylor. They wanted to stay in the same feeder pattern, meaning middle schools' boundaries are based on their residency. So Taylor is a feeder pattern with Mount Garfield and Palisade High School, where Thunder Mountain is a direct feeder to Grand Mesa Middle School. And so they wanted all of their siblings to go to the same feeder pattern, or their friends. And so they preferred Taylor Elementary over Thunder Mountain. And then the ones that had no preference, they just tell me where my student is going to go, and now that they have a bus, what time will the bus pick them up, what time will the bus drop them off, and they will be at school with whichever bus they ride.
Sorry, can you share with us what percentage of the families you were able to reach?
Yeah, so interestingly, we sent out 82, and there were 82 surveys, meaning we sent them out based on student names, but it really ended up only being about 60 families, because many of those families have multiple students in their household. And it turned out to be, we got about 40 of those families, 41 families. Yeah, I think a good survey is 20 to 30% for a good sample, and we had over 50%.
I think some other things to add to this that we've been discussing is, because again, we've had this conversation for a while as far as like which one would make more sense. I think the feeder thing is obviously something to factor in. Again, there'd be a bus regardless of which direction we would go with this. And then the survey feedback is also helpful, I think, in trying to make some decisions around this. Also, just thinking about capacity utilization. Taylor is one that initially we had recommended, or was a recommendation, because they actually have space there. And Not that Thunder Mountain doesn't, but it already is more utilized than Taylor is, and so this could accomplish one of the goals with EDEC was around trying to better utilize space and having more resources in schools. So, just to throw it out there, if we did this and Taylor was the school that received the students, their enrollment would go up. It would impact things like having an assistant principal, other counselors, things that go into our staffing formula, which could be a benefit for the school as well. And then, it's a performance school as well, so kids would be going to a performance school, which is great. It's a great program out there. And then I didn't realize until we were going through all this, I mean, even if you look at that map, down there at the bottom right, which is very close to Rocky Mountain, the students that live in there, they already go to Taylor. So it's actually, we already have kids that are traveling pretty far to go to Taylor anyways from the current boundaries. So it's not much of an adjustment of what's been going on already with the boundaries there. It just would be obviously a change for the families that are used to having Clifton right there by their neighborhood. So, I think either way we go, we'll make it work. But there seem to be a lot of benefits to potentially having Taylor be the destination school. And the only thing really I feel like we were debating before was distance, but hearing from the families that they like the feeder pattern and things like that, this might be a better option. And then back to what Shannon had mentioned, we can always look at things like relocating pre-Ks, and actually sometimes there can be a real benefit to that if you can house pre-Ks, more pre-K classrooms in one section, you can have more resources, or more in one area, you can have more resources provided to students within those pre-K programs. So those are some things that we'd still want to have conversations with the schools about, but we have some opportunities there to help with utilization. So again, ask whatever questions you might have, but this is really the one that we've been debating the most is, and at the end of the day, I think it's what works best for the students at the closing school and the school that's going to be receiving kids as well.
So to clarify, are you making a recommendation that it's Taylor or Thunder Mountain, or are you asking the board to make a decision?
You don't need to make a decision tonight.
Well, no, but I mean, I guess I'm just asking what is expected of the board. Because is the recommendation that they go to Taylor?
So I think I wanted y'all to have some time to ask some questions
Okay.
first. So if you have more questions, I would ask those, and then, we can make a recommendation.
Okay, well, it just seems like based off of the feedback that the families prefer Taylor. I mean,
And there were some families that preferred
sure.
Thunder Mountain, so I don't want to
They
say
could also
100%.
school a choice into Thunder Mountain as well.
They could,
So,
yes.
And it's,
And we tried to make a forced choice on our survey. Obviously, it worked
Right.
when they only did the survey, and there were other options or schools that they planned to select that isn't
Sure.
Thunder or Taylor, and they would use school of choice.
none of these boundaries affect, like, we're not shifting kids who are currently at Chatfield with that then would bump over to like Pear Park or anything, right? This is just taking what we have in those areas and then putting to Chatfield, Rocky, and
Right. That was one of the goals through this,
Okay.
for all the closures, was to not have to do a double shift. So no, students at receiving schools wouldn't be shifted to a different school.
got it, okay. I mean, to me, it just seems like there's more room at Taylor than, at least based off the numbers, than Thunder Mountain, but obviously then there's school choice if there are families that prefer the feeder to Thunder Mountain, so. Or any other, and I don't know that I particularly prefer a legal description. I mean, I'm familiar with legal descriptions in my job, but yeah, I think we need to have something that the community understands. Okay, if I'm looking at this street or this area, then I know exactly what boundary, what area I'm in, so. I don't know if the board has any thoughts on whether we want Shannon to write up a legal description for those. I mean, we don't have them for anything else. We don't have them for board districts. We have legal descriptions.
For board districts, and then for the boundaries in the past, is that how we've done it? I don't remember.
The last one we did do.
It's standard procedure for school board director districts to have a legal, but school boundaries typically don't. But this district has a tradition of when we do changes of this nature, that we write a legal description for the resulting boundary.
Okay.
So for the last round of boundary changes, we did it. And, but it's not common practice for school districts of our size, or even for school districts that are larger than we are.
Is there any additional cost for a legal description versus this?
My hours to sit down and
Just
write
write it.
it.
I just wonder why we've done.
I mean, if
do we
it's
have any
not
idea why we've done
necessary,
it that
why,
way?
why are we, still doing it?
Since I've already spent so much time with this particular inquiry, it wouldn't be a huge amount of my time to write them, so I think that the time shouldn't be a huge issue. It should just be.
Could just stay consistent, like just concluding maybe the year of 2024, and then this board could decide later if there's any other boundary shifts, if that's the route we want to continue to.
What is the benefit?
For Shannon and the surveyor who read it. That's what he said in his presentation.
I was going to say the words that I hate saying, which is just the way we've always done it. But so if the board feels comfortable with just not doing that this time around and moving forward with the decisions, that's fine as well. It's whatever y'all feel.
I guess if there's no, I mean, I don't want to, if there's no real need or justification for it, other than that's just what we've always done, then it seems to me like sort of the layman description is easier for everyone else to understand and what everybody goes by. So I don't know, does the Realtor Association use the legal description? Or I think they use actually this one based off of when they start looking at changing the boundaries.
That's correct. They use these more conceptual
okay.
descriptions, but reading a legal description is challenging. And the advent of GIS software has really changed the need for legal descriptions because the lines are so exacting. And that given the high level of support we get from our county GIS department, we would have a good record of what the lines are.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had a little interesting thing at my home with that, and it was way off by about 40 yards. So not sure that I'm
Sharing the same confidence.
on that one. Does our legal counsel have any weigh in on whether or not there would be a benefit or to that? Would you have any? Especially with that whole GIS thing.
She'd prefer a legal description.
Yeah, so our legal counsel is recommending a legal description. Yeah. Okay, so it's the way we've done it, and it doesn't leave a.
And we weren't sure if you were going to need time to think about this. That's why we didn't anticipate a vote tonight. But again, if you want to, we can. Otherwise, I think it would make sense to do this sooner than later, so we could have this written up pretty quickly, and then even just doing a quick virtual special meeting and taking a vote would be really easy. I know I chatted with some board members today. We had one-on-ones, and some folks are going to be going out of town on Friday, so I would suggest we do it like tomorrow or Thursday, and it would literally be like a 10-minute virtual meeting to take a vote on this. But we'd need to. I'm saying that as I'm looking at Shannon to see if he can write it fast enough. You said you could a while ago, Shannon, so I'm just holding you to it. So maybe Thursday, I don't know, but we could do it pretty quickly.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you for the presentation. Appreciate the information. And thank you for surveying the families there, that north part of Clifton, to see kind of what they were thinking.
And just a reminder, as soon as the vote happens, again, we'll work with Mesa County to get the maps updated so that families can search based on address, and then we will start communicating directly to families that on what school they would be zoned for next school year, and that gives them enough time with January with the school of choice process if they for some reason wanted to school of choice as well. So that'll kickstart that process next. So thank y'all.
Thanks for driving down, Shannon.
You're welcome.
All right, next up, we have audience comments. So this is a time that the board dedicates to hearing the public comments, and so we encourage everyone to speak that would like to speak. Please refrain from disorderly speech or actions, avoid name-calling, personnel attacks, or derogatory comments. Threats are absolutely not tolerated, and to save time, please avoid duplicate comments. And then each speaker is allowed 3 minutes. So you have the timer up there by the microphone. You also have a light up here, and there will be a tone. There's one tone that will indicate that you have 30 seconds left, just so you can wrap up your thoughts. And we do a hard stop at 3 minutes. So, Director Jones, you want to kick us off?
All righty. And just to add to a little bit of that, if in fact you don't finish in your 3 minutes, you are more than welcome to send us your email or send your letter through email so we can read it fully. So I know that there are no students in here, which normally go first, but there is a young lady who's going to speak for a student. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and get her out of the way first. So Mr. Joey Pinata. And I have a young lady who's going to read his statement.
All right. Thank you. My name is Joey Panada, and I am the student leader of Project Butterfly at Grand Junction High School. Our cause is to spread mental health awareness out to the community and primarily to the student population. We do events to make people feel connected and to help as much as we can. Students will be worried about this upcoming school year with questions. Will my friends be in the same school? Will I have to ride the bus? Do they have the same programs? We need to be ready for upcoming students and the new stressors they're about to face. Is there any way you think we can help? Please contact us. And then you can reach us at projectbutterfly.gj on Instagram.
And then for the record, can you just give me your name so we know?
I'm so sorry. Sheila Worth. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Worth.
Mm-hmm.
All righty, and then up next, we have Mr. Josh Worth, and on deck, Ms. Elizabeth Ross.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Hill, and D51 administration. Thank you for your continued efforts, and thank you for taking the time for public comment. Today, I and the following 3 speakers come before you to offer our long-term support and collaboration to serve all kids in the community. We are here to pledge our time, efforts, and resources to ensure every student is provided an individualized opportunity for academic growth and success. We are here to express our intention to open a tuition-free, public, and open to all charter school in the Scenic Elementary building. We are here to reiterate our following requests. We are requesting for the board to exercise their right to waive or extend the application timeline as defined in the D51 Relations to Charter Schools policy, for the opportunity that our application can be reviewed and approved for a fall 2025 start date. We understand that it will take, we understand what it will take for a fall 2025 start, and we're supported by a number of key local and state organizations to ensure we can hire and build a high-quality program able to serve a wide range of students and families. A 2025 start is crucial to our mission to ensure we can collaborate with D51 to ensure no gap is left unfilled in this transition process, and to provide an alternative high-quality academic option. As a charter school authorized by D51, we will be able to partner with the resources of D51 while pursuing a vision that includes enhanced curriculum. For example, incorporating ASL into the classrooms and fostering a sense of belonging and empowerment for deaf students. As the district has stated, they have no clear plans for this current Scenic Elementary building and property once shuttered. We are requesting the opportunity to access and or release the Scenic facility. This location and its amenities provide a learning environment that is crucial to the growth and academic foundation for all students. The physical attributes of the Scenic property are unique and can be leveraged to promote hands-on learning and practical applications of students' knowledge. We are requesting prompt clarity and collaboration from D51 administration on the use of the Scenic facility. Scenic View Charter School will help D51 ease the financial burden of a shuttered school by recouping maintenance costs and other expenses while allowing better use of community's funds and eliminate waste on maintenance and shutters facility. We request in writing that the board and district provide clear direction to the viability for a fall 2025 start date and the access to the Scenic facility. We will find a way to create a new school and hope you'll be supportive given how much these decisions impact our children's educational pathway. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to diving deeper into Scenic View and how we can help our entire community and District 51 flourish with you all. Thank you.
Alrighty, up next we have Elizabeth Ross, and on deck, Ms. Kim Carville.
Good evening, board members and District 51 administration. Thank you for your continued efforts and thank you for providing my family with the opportunity of school of choice. As a parent in the Clifton attendance area, this vision for Scenic View hits close to home. I have felt firsthand the challenges families face in finding schools that truly meet their children's needs. Each morning, I make the long drive to our current school of choice because I believe in providing my child with an environment where he feels safe, nurtured, and inspired. I also know many parents across our valley share the same desire to preserve school of choice and to ensure their children have access to options that support their unique paths. As we face significant changes in District 51, it is more important than ever to preserve the student trust in the district by providing as many school options as possible and ensuring families have access to schools that meet the diverse needs of their children. Scenic View Charter School, with the collaboration of District 51, will stand out as a beacon of hope and opportunity, offering an environment where students can truly thrive. Scenic View will provide a tuition-free public school option built on the work hard and be nice culture and the deep understanding of the importance of small class sizes and individual learning. These elements are especially critical in our K-5 students, as these formative years shape not only their academic abilities, but also their confidence and love for learning. Scenic View, alongside of District 51, will be uniquely positioned to provide tailored support in ensuring each child receives the attention they deserve and the resources they need to succeed. With school closures, the challenges for families are only growing. Larger class sizes and fewer options mean that many students may struggle to find a school that fits their unique learning styles and needs. As we navigate these changes in our district, let us come together to support our community through Scenic View Charter School. One size does not fit all, and it's important that options that include small class sizes are made available to meet the diverse needs of students from all ends of our community. Together, Scenic View and District 51 can collaborate to identify and fill in gaps to ensure every child is accounted for and allowed the best opportunity to succeed. I believe the current Scenic Elementary facility and location is critical to the mission of Scenic View Charter School and can provide enhanced learning for all students. I believe in this option for students so much that I am willing and more than happy to carpool as many students as I can from my community to ensure they have the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Ms. Kim Carville, and on deck, Mr. Brian Austin.
Good evening. Thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to speak again tonight. My name is Kim Carville, and I am here to express my support for Scenic View Charter School. I'm here tonight in two capacities. One is a parent. I have two students currently attending Scenic Elementary, and I have every intention of having them attend Scenic View Charter School. I am also here tonight as a local business owner, looking to do what I can to try to help solve the problems, try to overcome the hurdles that we see on the path to opening Scenic View Charter School. My husband and I have committed to providing transportation, purchasing vehicles, and maintaining them for as many students across the valley that would like to attend Scenic View Charter School. We are hoping that it will be a diverse community, just as we have in our school right now, welcoming kids that are displaced by the school closures and any kids whose families make this choice. Our district prides itself on choice. Scenic View Charter School, authorized by D51, would offer a solution to many challenges that the district and our community face. One that prioritizes listening to the needs of students, individualizing learning, and having a strong community culture rooted in the values of our work hard, be nice. This partnership with District 51 reinforces trust and ensures families have access to an innovative tuition-free public school option designed to meet the challenges of today and the aspirations of tomorrow. As the authorizer of Scenic View Charter School, D51 would be reaffirming its commitment to providing equitable educational opportunities. This collaboration sends a powerful message. Every student in Mesa County deserves an individualized path. One of my students is not a typical learner, and a crowded classroom and fewer resources spread within a school, it's not going to work for him. Scenic View Charter School is where I hope to be, and if it isn't, I'll be looking outside our district for options for him. because it isn't one size fits all. And so we're asking you, excuse me, we're asking you for your support to start by adjusting your timeline. And I believe what I asked the last time I spoke here is just meet us at the table. In the past weeks, we have been able to solve so many of the roadblocks that appear to stand in our way of forming this school. This team of people that I have become partners working with are amazing. And we ask that you listen and just see what we have to offer. So adjusting the timeline, just giving us a moment to be able to explain to you what we have come up with and how we plan to open our doors to everyone in our community that is interested in attending.
Thank you, Ms. Carville. Up next, we have Mr. Brian Austin, and our final one, Valentina Servin.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Hill, and D51 administration. Thank you for your dedication to our community and for allowing us the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Brian Austin, and I'm a parent of students in D51, a business owner in our community, and someone who firmly believes in the mission of Scenic View Charter School. Tonight, we come before you with a shared commitment to serve all children in the Grand Valley communities. Scenic View Charter School is not simply a continuation, but a catalyst of new educational opportunity across the valley for decades to come. We are here to ensure every student, especially those affected by closures and consolidations, has access to the best individualized opportunities for academic success. We formally request the board's support in waiving or extending the application timeline as defined by D51's policy on charter schools. This flexibility will ensure Scenic View Charter School can open its doors in fall 2025, backed by a team with the experience and dedication to meet every application requirement. Additionally, we request the use of the Scenic Elementary facility. This space, currently without a future plan, is uniquely suited to fostering academic growth and community engagement. By utilizing this facility, we can help the district reduce the financial burden of maintaining a shuttered building while enhancing educational opportunities for students across our valley. Basically, help us help you. Scenic View Charter School will be the immovable object during this time of uncertainty, a steadfast foundation for families and students. While transitions bring challenges, we will remain committed to providing stability, continuity, and a seamless educational path for students and families. With no attendance boundaries, Scenic View will welcome learners from every corner of our valley, building a diverse and inclusive community dedicated to academic excellence. As we step forward, we pledge to embrace collaboration with the community, educators, and D51 leadership. Together, we will create a culture that not only supports student success today, but strengthens our district and community for generations. Scenic View Charter School will stand as a pillar of strength, an enduring partner in the growth and success of our community. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to working together to ensure Scenic View becomes an invaluable asset to our community and District 51. Thank you.
Alrighty, and our final audience comment from tonight is Miss Valentina Servin. And I believe she left, but Mrs. Sheila Worth is going to read her.
First, thank you, Secretary and Administration, for all the effort to accommodate our deaf community and our ASL interpreters. That was amazing. She did have to leave, but asked me to read this. Hi, my name is Valentina Servin. My kids go to Nisley. I want to tell you, I'm concerned about next year. My kids worry. I need information. No one give me information. I don't want my kids in big class with 30 or more kids. Some kids need more attention. I heard maybe another school choice, but have transportation problem. I hear maybe maybe they can provide transportation. That would be wonderful for my family. I want good opportunity for my kids. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. And that concludes our audience comments for the evening.
Thank you. All right, next up we have our consent agenda. So the consent agenda contains routine items such as personnel actions and acceptance of gifts, which can be approved with a single motion. The total of the gifts for this month is $12,315, and we're always so very thankful for all the different community partners that donate in various ways. So, are there any items that need to be removed for individual consideration, board? Okay. Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, so next up, we have our board business items. So I propose that we vote J1A through V, which are the policies, because W through EE are repeal and removal. Is the board okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
So we will have a motion, a second, and there can be discussion on if any of these policies that the board would like to discuss. So do I have a motion to approve items J1A through J1V, V as in Victor?
Motion to,
Go ahead, Will.
motion to approve policies J1 through
J1A through J1V.
J1V.
Second.
All right, discussion? I will note that in policy JQ, the student fees, a wording change from the board to D51. The district, to the district. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, please?
Yeah, so hold on, let me pull the policy. I have it here. JQ.
Q? Student discipline?
No, JQ, student fees. Sorry, I'm just grabbing the.
I was good with the way it was. Is there a reason?
Okay. So here, I'll just read it. So students may be asked to pay miscellaneous fees and expenses on a voluntary basis as a condition of attending, participating in, or obtaining materials, clothing, equipment used in a school-sponsored activity or program not within the academic portion of the educational program. Rental fees for the use of items such as chorale robes, band uniforms, school-owned instruments shall be approved by the board upon recommendation of the superintendent. Students participating in activities or sports that are not required by the teacher or used in the determination of a grade may be required to pay charges covering the cost of the activity. Such changes may include, but are not limited to, admission fees, food costs, and transportation costs on activity trips. However, it is incumbent upon the teacher and principal to make every effort to be sure no student is denied right to participate in trips or other enrichment activities because of lack of funds. The district may impose and collect a fee for the payment of excess transportation costs in accordance with state law. Only those students who use the district's transportation services shall be required to pay any transportation fee. So this sentence, the board may change student parking fees. That could be changed to the district may charge student parking fees to offset costs associated with parking and other student supportive expenditures to enhance the school community, as long as the primary intent and costs associated with the parking is met. So there was a proposal for that to be changed from the board to the district, or we can remain as the board.
I'm actually fine with it remaining the way that it is. Do I have that on?
And then the rest of it's just a waiver of fees and a fee schedule for the rest of the policy, so. So it says the board may charge student parking fees to offset costs associated with parking and other student supportive expenditures, enhance the school community, because then the board would approve that through our fees, the fees that we vote on.
Because JQR is something that we approve anyway.
Well, the regulation, no, well, we just, we approve the policy, the regulation can be adjusted at any time. Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
The schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so what was stated was in the first part of the policy, it is referencing that the district may impose and collect a fee. This is the paragraph before, and then it says the board may charge student parking fees. So to be consistent with the rest of the wording, it would say the district may charge student parking fees, but the board does actually vote on those student fees. So if and on the fee schedule. So if the board wants to look at any of those fees when they're presented to us, we can ask questions of that or ask, about those fees or.
And then prior to that, if there's any fees that we are concerned about, then the specifics as to those fees can be requested, correct?
Yes, we could require specifics prior to approving any fee.
Okay, as long as that's the case, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the wording is more consistent. If it's just, we change, the board may change student parking fees to the district not charge, not changed. Okay. It's the board, that was the only clarification one I had for any of those policies. Okay. Okay, seeing no other discussion, we can take the vote for J1A through J1V policies. This is the second reading and adoption.
And changing the word to district.
Changing policy JQ, student fees, fines, and charges to the third, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth paragraph down from the board to the district.
Okay. Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
Okay, passed 5-0. Thank you. All right, and so next up, we have J1W through J1EE. E is in Edward. So these are just repeal and removal of policies. As we've been going through these, we've just been looking at redundancies or where some of this information actually is housed in other policies. So these ones will just basically be removed. So do I have a motion to approve J1W through J1EE?
Motion to approve J1W through J1EE.
Second.
And that's sorry, I'll clarify. Is there any discussion? This is to repeal and remove these policies. We're not adopting any these policies. Okay. All right, seeing no discussion, we can go ahead and take the vote.
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right. So for J2, we just have the policy first reading for LBD relations with charter schools. So there were some updates to the state statute that has to be updated with the LBD policy. So board, you have a copy of that in your email. So if you have any questions, make sure that we get clarification on those before a second reading. So J3, we have the resolution to certify the mill levy. I can read the resolution, or board, you have it in your packet, so if you're fine, we could just make a motion to approve the resolution to certify the mill levy.
Motion to approve the certification.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay. Melanie's presentation was really good, so, all right. We asked all the questions already. All right, seeing no further discussion, Amy, we can call for a vote.
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, so item J4, the 2025-2026 school calendar adoption. Do I have a motion to adopt that calendar?
Motion to adopt the calendar.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we can vote for the adoption of the 25-26 school calendar.
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
All right, and then we added J5, which was a vote for approval to negotiate and sign the performance contract from the presentation earlier. Do I have a motion to approve a vote, a motion to approve and negotiate and sign the performance contract? Oh, sorry, the audit. Sorry. Okay. A vote to negotiate and sign for the performance audit. What's the company's name again? Schneider. Okay, there we go. For Schneider audit. There we go.
Motion to approve the negotiation and signing the audit.
With Schneider, okay.
With Schneider.
Second that, do we have to vote to amend the agenda?
We already did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you're fine. It's okay. Earlier,
We came back from
we
break.
did two things. Earlier, when we changed, we moved the strategic plan up. You're good. It's okay.
It's a good time, I understand.
Second that.
I know, it was a while ago.
I did.
Yes, and Director Evanson seconded. Thank you.
Vote.
Yeah, is there any discussion? Oh, okay, yes, we're ready for the vote.
Mr. Chavez.
Yes.
Mrs. Evanson.
Yes.
Mrs. Heights.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Ms. Lima.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have board open discussion. One item we do need to determine is a special meeting to vote on the boundaries that were presented this evening.
So, like I said, I know at least one board member is not going to be here on Friday, so would Thursday work for folks? If not, it'd be virtual, so you just need to be able to get on virtually.
Are we wanting it to be at a certain time?
I mean, we traditionally,
Nice.
we hold them at 5, just because it's, if someone wanted to get on virtually and they're working, they could. There's not really gonna, I don't anticipate a lot of discussion, it'll be a vote, but we traditionally try to do it around 5. I think if we did it next week, it wouldn't be until Tuesday, I think was the earliest. I had some one-on-ones with board members today, so I know folks are gonna be out, so. I would say tomorrow, but I don't know if, I mean, Shannon already left, I don't know that he can get it done in time.
Tomorrow would work, well, so.
We also need to give 24-hour.
Oh, yes,
posting.
thank you, yeah.
Good call.
Um,
I can do Thursday.
Yeah, I would need to do it before, like, 4 o'clock. I mean, I might be able to do, I could maybe do it at 4, but later than that, I'm busy.
Yeah, I need to do it before 6. On Thursday.
So it's not a meeting that's gonna have any public comment or anything, so I mean, if you do it at 4, it probably would be 5 to 10 minute long meeting, so.
Is there a time during the day that works for board members on Thursday?
I'm just going to be traveling, so it could be a little iffy whether or not I could have service to get on.
Okay.
That's my only. But you still have enough people to vote if I could not get on.
We still have a
Everybody
quorum.
else can do it.
Let me look at my calendar. Amy, do you have any challenges on Thursday, since we have to remote, or do a virtual meeting?
No,
So-
I'm fine.
Okay. Board, is there some time before, well, it sounds like later in the day is getting a little bit more tricky. So, and I know that we need to make a decision to help facilitate everybody knowing or get the ball rolling on everything, so. Could we do like a 1 or a 2 o'clock virtual on Thursday?
I can't do 2, but I could do 1.
Okay. 1 o'clock virtual on Thursday? Okay. Yeah, you can, as long as you have service. Okay, or unless there's noon, 11, yeah, I'm just throwing out times. 1 PM, noon, 11 AM. Is there something better?
One works.
Okay, all right, then we'll do 1 o'clock Thursday, yeah, for the vote on the boundary change virtually. Okay. Board, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, we do have, this concludes our meeting for the 2024, well, no, I guess we'd still have this special board meeting, excuse me, so this is at least in person. We, our next meeting will be January 7th, our board work session here back in the boardroom, and then our January 21st board business meeting, so.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yep, yeah, Merry Christmas. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.